Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Hey, everybody, here we are. It's a Monday. A lot to get to today. G. Bush in the house. Jason Lloyd is here.
Yep.
I literally mean that if Jason's head was not attached to his body, he would lose it.
Come on, man.
That is 100% accurate.
All right.
I have never seen a man. I've said this, this is the craziest thing. Jason, when it comes to his job, is like the most together guy I've ever met in my life. He's an A+.
So, okay.
He writes kick-ass articles. He has better connections than anybody in Cleveland. Like, he is top of the game, top of the line. Couldn't have more respect for him.
But
he can't. I mean, you can't find your phone. You can't find your keys. You can't find your ID. I don't know how you get out of the house ever.
We're gonna do the quickest. We're gonna do the quickest 60-second poll ever in UCSS history. To Jason's credit, he's not the only one. If you ask somebody who's the most foggy brain at the beginning of the show, is it G. Bush? Is it Jason? Or, your boy Mike Polk is kind of bad, too.
Is he
Mike Polk come in with literal papers. I'm like, what are you doing with those papers? The papers are flowing out of his doggone trunk like cartoon characters when they steal money. You know how the money is flowing out the back of their car?
I legitimately, I have ADD. I was diagnosed, and I don't take anything for it.
Right.
So that's why I'm just all over.
It is
so
amazing.
I'm driving in today for the show, and my watch starts ringing, but the Bluetooth isn't picking up. I'm like, why isn't the Bluetooth pick? Oh, my God, onto my phone.
The poll is up, by the way. 60 seconds. Go.
So I'm talking to Mikey on my watch, driving in. He's like, well, how'd you answer? I'm like, I'm on my watch. I don't have my phone.
Man, I be leaving my glasses.
That's true.
Then my phone, bill collectors.
You got your ID falls out of your pocket at least twice a week.
And I'll be calling people. I'll call y'all y'all see my ID? And people be like, no, bro. We didn't.
Oh, my
No one saw that.
I feel naked today without my phone.
It is weird.
I got the
It's
tremors.
bizarre. Steve Becker texted me 8:15 last night. I got into bed at 8, was watching old TV, but I didn't look at my phone for almost 12 hours. I woke up this morning, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Got texts from everybody. We're talking about upper deckers in our chain.
We're a barn animal.
Oh, my God, bunch of animals. By the way, I did go, saw the movie Air over this weekend. You know what that's about?
Yeah, that's the Ben Affleck Nike Jordan movie.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was good, but I thought it would be better. It wasn't. It was a weird decision they made in this movie. Was essentially Michael Jordan wasn't in it, really.
I mean, I don't think they could have got that cleared. I think.
What do you mean? You're allowed to have somebody play Michael Jordan.
But it's from the perspective of Nike. Michael Jordan would have had to say, yeah.
No, he wouldn't. It's fiction. They could make it.
Well, I was going to say, is it a Paul DePodesta Moneyball situation where Jonah Hill had to play him as Mark West or something? They had to make up a fake.
No. So technically, Michael Jordan was in the movie. There was somebody playing him.
Yeah.
But you never actually they only showed him kind of from behind. But there was somebody playing his mom and dad, and they were prominent, in the movie, especially the mom. If the movie's accurate, Michael Jordan owes probably all his money to his mom.
Probably.
Because the mom, according to the movie, was the one who said, yeah, we're going to take a cut of the profits.
Wow.
And that had never been done, apparently, before that.
And so he took a cut of the profits and basically said, we'll take a little less on the front end?
No, he took
all of it on the front.
Michael Jordan was taking a chance on Nike because Nike at the time was a big running shoe company, but they had their basketball division at the time, again based on the movie, was a complete joke.
I think that's fairly accurate.
Yeah, I think they were, but it was just weird their decision to only kind of shoot Michael Jordan from behind. Yeah. The only time you ever heard him talk was on the phone. So
that is a little
It was weird. It was a weird choice. Go ahead, Mikey. What do we got?
Our 60-second poll has concluded, and it was tight. Who is the foggiest brain to start a normal UCSS show? And with 34% of the vote, narrowly edging out number 2 with 30%, G. Bush. You are people's foggiest
You can
of the
have
day
that
champ.
one. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
It just goes to show you that on the polls in the internet, I am undefeated. It doesn't matter if it's bad or good. The belt is a curse.
The winner
baby.
and still
It's
champion.
Still champion.
Well, I don't have my phone to text Mike, so can someone throw me a water? Because I need a water.
Here, I got an extra one.
Hey,
Here.
I can't
Well, I'm
text.
doing the Bet
you go.
Rivers read. By the way, Bull
Yeah.
went 2-0 on Friday.
Yes.
He is now over 500 on his baseball bets. He is one game under 500 total. You're 18-19 on the season, but now 4-3 in baseball bets. Today's bet brought to us by Bet Rivers is Bull. Will tell us in a sec, but
Yeah.
if you're not using the Bet Rivers online sportsbook, you guys are missing out. It is the place to be for every single game. Right now is the perfect time to join Bet Rivers by using the deposit code SPORTS. You'll receive a second chance bet up to $500. You can get on all the action with weekly specials on your favorite sports like basketball and hockey. To help you win big, check out BetRivers.com or download the Bet Rivers app today for the latest lines, odds, and boost. Bull, what do you got today?
And check out my Bet Rivers podcast, The Bull in Cleveland. This morning, I talk about Odell going to the Ravens and a wild weekend for the Guardians. And then on Wednesday's podcast, I will have Aditi as my first guest. So that's that. As for my pick today, we stick with baseball. Well, there really isn't much else to bet on, right? There's no NBA. When do the play-in games start? Tomorrow? The next day?
Tomorrow.
Let's go with the game of the week or the game of the day. I like the Padres as a slight underdog against the Mets. You Darvish on the hill. I'm frankly not sure why the Padres. I mean, I know the Mets have Max Scherzer. He has struggled in his first two starts. And by the way, it's very interesting with the Mets. Like, they're relying on Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. I actually picked them to go to the World Series because I thought those guys have at least one more year left. And in the playoffs, good luck beating those two guys in a playoff series. So far, Verlander's hurt and Scherzer's struggling. Now it's early. But I like you, Darvish, and the Padres.
By the way, to me, they are the leader in the clubhouse of getting Ohtani. I believe they will seal the deal and pay him his
the
millions.
Mets?
Yes. He will be playing for the Mets next year.
Well, I hope you're wrong, but we shall see. But anyway, so take the Padres today with you, Darvish, on the road in New York. And that's it. That's the best bet of the day. All right, let's stick with baseball here.
Yep.
Guys, it was a wild weekend for the Guardians, and I actually have some complaints about Terry Francona. We'll get to that after. By the way, I very rarely complain about Terry Francona because overall Terry Francona is, if not the best manager, one of the best managers in baseball.
But you will second guess him when it comes to taking people out.
And there were two things he did this weekend that had me scratching my head.
Do you want to start there, or do you want to get to Francona in the end?
Let's get to Francona at the end
Let's start.
because I want to start what happened yesterday, guys. And obviously this weekend had not gone well. They blow the game on Friday. They lose the game on Saturday. And then yesterday, they're losing the whole time. Now, I'll give credit to Plesac because after he gave up the home run to Cal Raleigh in the first, he settled down and pitched really well after that. Karinchak probably had his best inning in the eighth, and then Clase gives up a run in the ninth, but they were already losing. So it's 3-1 in the ninth, and Will Brennan comes through with a double. I know you were saying you thought it should have been an error.
E9.
I think it's a double. They're not going to. Yeah, he's running towards the wall. I mean, in the end, you're right.
In Seattle, that's an E9.
I don't think
at home, that's a hit at home.
It's a hit at the house.
Either way, Will Brennan.
He took a bad path and got turned around.
Either way, Will Brennan, who right there looked like Nick Swisher for a moment.
A little bit. Jersey Shore.
Let's see the play again.
He got himself turned around. He took a terrible path to the ball.
They're rarely going to call an error when the guy's back is facing the
and
the
it
field,
goes over his head.
And it goes over his head. Listen, he
sold
probably should have caught it. You're right. But credit to Will Brennan. I mean, he smoked that ball.
Yeah,
I thought it was gone off the bat.
I did too. The wind has been blowing in all weekend.
Yes.
I was there Friday night and really noticed how heavy the winds were coming in.
Well, because Cal Raleigh hit one on Friday, I think, that I thought was way out.
Yeah.
And it got caught at
the conversation is should Will Brennan be getting some more at bats? Because Oscar Gonzalez is
that's part of it. We'll get to that. They
later.
faced a lot of lefties, but so Brennan comes through in the ninth to tie it. They can't take the lead. Then in the 11th, he comes through again with a base hit to tie it, and then they walk it off on the 12th on a squibber to second base by Josh Bell.
68-foot bomb by Franmil Bell to win it.
Bro.
Josh Bell is struggling. I think people got to take it down a notch because it's only a week and a half. He's been awful so
He
far.
has had horrendous swings.
Horrendous.
Bro.
I can't
Horrendous
defend it.
swings.
He's 3 for 34.
It's not even the strikeouts. It's the fact that I was joking with Zach Meisel during the openers. Like, he's a switch hitter, and he looks like he's batting from the wrong side of the plate every time he's up. Like, he just has – he looks like he has no approach and no idea what's
You know
going
what's
on.
funny is that second to last at bat he had, I can't remember what inning it was now, before he got the walk-off ground ball that he, should have been, whatever. It's a number. It just went in the
Man, that's a
front.
fielder. That's a fielder.
It is scored a fielder's
That
choice.
ain't we ain't counting
It's
that.
not a
as
hit.
no- that-
It's not a hit. But, hey, listen, the run got in.
But he didn't strike out.
He didn't strike
Put
out.
the bat on the ball,
But
put it in play.
the at-bat before that, Bell, or it may have been against Matt Brash. I can't remember now what inning it was. But there was a hanging pitch right in the middle of the plate, and he fouled it back.
Yeah.
You remember, he's a mess. The guy has a track record. I know he did struggle at the end of last year, but overall he has a track record. I think he'll be okay. But
I absolutely think there's a huge adjustment going from one league to the other. We see it time after time, we saw it with Javi Baez last year, struggling coming to the AL last year. I do think that there's a learning curve, an adjustment period of learning all new pitchers that you really don't ever see.
I mean, we have interleague all the time. It shouldn't be as big an adjustment.
Go look. I mean, probably should have prepared this a little bit more, but I bet you I could pull up all kinds of guys who switch leagues later in their careers.
Yeah,
who struggle.
that's fair. I would think within, he's going Central. He played most of his career in the Central.
Yeah.
So you would think Central to Central, it wouldn't be as big a deal because you play those Central teams more often.
Well, how many times has he ever played the Mariners?
Oh, that's
and
true.
The A's?
That's fair. They hasn't played any teams in the Central yet.
If he was hitting the ball harder, I wouldn't have no problem. Quan yesterday hit a ball right to somebody on the button.
Yeah,
and so when you hitting the ball hard right to some people, you at least on the pitches, you're in the right area. He's hitting weak ground balls, tappers back to the mound. He's just not. He's not seeing the ball very well right now.
I'm with Bull. It's April 10th,
And
he got plenty of time.
He's traditionally been bad in April. It's been his worst month.
Yeah.
You got to give it some time.
He'll
It
figure
was,
it out.
in the end, an exciting win. I mean, that last inning, it was an interesting move by Scott Service to walk Jose Ramirez in the 12th inning. I think it was it didn't work for them, but I thought it was the right call.
Absolutely the right call.
They were talking about, I was listening to Hammy on the radio at the time because I had to run out. And they were saying they seemed like a little surprised on the radio, but I wasn't surprised.
I wasn't all surprised.
Now, I'll tell you guys this too.
Yeah.
Did he just become this, or he was always this? It seems like Rosario is real average at short. Like he'll make the routine stuff, but the stuff
he doesn't have great range.
He's not elite defensively, but he's
good.
he's come quite a long ways. He's
Yeah.
improved quite a bit defensively from where he was.
He's struggling offensively right now.
But that's not unusual. He got off to a slow start last year, too.
did.
I would love to see Jimenez in the 2-hole. I don't understand why their second best hitter is batting 6th and 7th.
Yeah. Well, yesterday
I
he
think
hit
it's
fifth.
out of respect.
he's crushing the rock.
But I think it's out of respect to Rosario because Jimenez should be batting 2nd.
Can I ask you guys a question real quick?
Or 4th.
Yeah, Jimenez at 4th. Bell can't be at 4th. But I have a serious
Yeah.
question about Bell, Rosario. We talked about this last week. I should have asked Jay, but you guys may know this. Baseball is the one sport where the best player in the world can go cold for 2 weeks and all of a sudden just snap out of it.
Sure.
They all play spring training. Why is it and Robinson Cano back in the day was like this for the Yankees. He was terrible every April and May, then got scorching hot in the summer. Why do some guys take so long to adjust to the start of the regular season? Like, historically, there are players, and Bell's one of them, who over 7, 8, 9 years always struggles in April and May.
Some guys don't hit good in the cold weather.
I was just where I was going to go. I don't know if that's Bell's problem or not, but some guys just don't.
I mean,
like
he's
playing.
only played in cold weather markets.
Right.
I have a small ass sample size, but in high school, everybody, when you come from playing basketball, then you start baseball. You outside, it's 30 degrees, then it's 40 degrees.
Yeah.
If you hit the ball on certain parts of the bat, it ain't going nowhere. Like if you hit the ball on the end of the bat, you're gonna ground out. The ball doesn't fly as well in cold weather. Warmer weather, it'll carry a little further. But
I mean, there's a lot of guys hitting right now. I mean, a lot of guys on the Guardians are off to good starts.
Yeah.
But yes, Bell has a history of being bad in April. Rosario got off to a really bad start. I mean, through the middle of May, he was batting like 200 last year. Rosario, he was terrible the first 6 weeks. So we'll see.
I think he's very league average. That's why I'm not on this kick to re-sign him. I thought all along.
Rosario?
Yeah.
I think he's better than average, but he's
by
not
much.
great.
I don't think he's much better than average. I think they can easily get out of Rocchio, Arias, one of these guys. They can match what they're getting out of Rosario.
Yeah, they got 2 or 3, 4 dudes down there. If Arias
Well,
start
we're
hitting
going to
the
find
ball,
out anyway because they're not signing them.
They're not gonna sign them.
So,
But, so in the end, it was a great win because they kept coming back, right? They
Yeah.
were down the whole game, tie it in the 9th, tie it in the 11th, win it in the 12th. They didn't do much to actually win it in the 12th. I mean, it was wild pitches and well, not a wild pitch, but
That pickoff attempt was.
Penn Murphy on the pickoff attempt to second base. And what what was interesting? Another curious move by Seattle. Like, so their 2 best relief pitchers on Seattle are Paul Sewald, who had closed the first 2 games, and so we didn't know this going into the game, but he wasn't using them last night. Otherwise, he would have. He didn't use them.
Right.
Their other good reliever, Andres Munoz, went on the DL before the game. So your 2 best relievers are down. Your 3rd best reliever is Diego Castillo, the fat guy who pitched, I think, in like the 7th inning. He's a fat guy. It's all right. Now, he's been a really good relief pitcher for a long time. I didn't understand. If you have your 2 best pitchers unavailable, why would you use your next best pitcher in the 7th inning? And then you had to go with Brash in the 9th. And then they went with guys they just called up in the 10th and 11th before going to Penn Murphy in the 12th, who had already pitched 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
And you could tell, guys this time of year are not pitching 3 days in a row. Like, you don't do that in April. So that was kind of some weird decisions by the Mariners.
They've never really trusted Castillo with that 9th inning. I think he had 8 or 9 saves last year.
Yeah, he had saves in Tampa Bay when he was there.
Yeah, but he's never been trusted as that 9th inning closer guy.
No, but I'm saying for one game.
I'm trying to remember the 7th. What was the situation of the 7th? Was that one of those game on the line? I don't remember. I was flipping back and forth. We had family over yesterday. I was watching a little bit of the Masters. I don't remember the 7th.
You know how it is. You get the family over. You got the in-laws over. You watching, but you really not watching.
I had my brother, had my mom. We had the in-laws.
Yeah. I tell you what though, listen. This dude Quan is turning into one of the best left fielders. He might not have no power, but this dude Quan is getting 2-3 hits regularly. He's on base. This dude is putting the bat on the ball. And the great thing about him is it just seems like even when a pitcher hits his spots, right, and they throw a ball and it's tight in the inside, he still gets his barrel of the bat on the ball. He still can slap it this way. He can slap it this way. He just looks like a dude. Look at that. Look at his wrist. Look at them wrists.
He stands right on top of the plate. Like more so, a lot of guys crowd
I like
the plate.
when players do that.
But his toes, I've noticed in the spring, his toes are almost on the chalk. That's how tight he is on the plate. And he said he really likes it because he thinks it messes with the pitchers when he's that crowded. They can't really
That's
get
something
inside.
that Rizzo's been doing for years.
Getting that close
He
to on the
stands
chalk.
on top of the plate. He's like, I don't care if you hit me. I'm taking it. It's to take the outside corner. I want to be able to reach that.
A lot of guys, like I said, get close to the plate, but Quan takes it, I think, to the extreme. You don't see very many guys.
No.
Maybe Rizzo, but you
Yeah,
don't see
very
many
rare.
guys. But Quan's got the hand speed. He can get his hands through the zone. He can get the bat through the zone, and he can handle those inside pitches. And to your point, he can reach the outside.
Right.
As well.
And beyond that, he's a great base runner. He's a good base
he's terrific.
stealer.
Yeah.
He's a great defensive player. He's got a good arm.
He's never going to be a guy that pops on the prospect list. That's why we never really heard much about him. He doesn't have a ton of power. I think the contract thing with him is fascinating.
Yeah, but
because
that's what I'm asking.
there's no comps for him.
No, the comp is Brett Butler from like 30 years ago.
The comp is Ichiro.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah, but he's not. I can't put him at that level yet.
Ichiro's arm
But
is
Ichiro was
crazy.
a 10-year vet when he came here.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what
true.
I mean?
That's true.
So there's
That's fair.
really, and it doesn't sound like they got very far in negotiations this spring with him on an extension. He's already lost 1 year off the contract time. He's going to lose this year. Really, if they're going to get anything done with him, it's going to have to be next year, next winter, or else.
You would think. I mean, I don't know, like how much. Like a guy like that, how do you pay him in free agency?
It's so hard.
I mean, maybe I suggested this guy with a Rosario comp to some degree, but like, I look at the Andrew Benintendi contract.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he's better than Andrew Benintendi.
I think he is too.
But he's a guy like Benintendi's a guy who's a good hitter, not a lot of power. But I think he's a better fielder than Benintendi. He's a better base runner.
Yeah.
That might be like nobody's paying him monster money because he doesn't hit home runs.
What's the fair deal?
And he's never going to hit home runs.
What was the fair deal? If you had to look
I
at
don't
it, what's
even-
a fair deal? Like if you looked at it and you said, I'm going to offer you this, and he turned it down, you'd be like, well, that was a fair offer. What ballpark would you be in?
I think I put him at 6 for 41, I think.
Yeah, if I'm him, I'm not signing that.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember now. I don't have my phone.
That was the comp you texted me, 6 for 41.
6 for 41.
Yeah.
And I forget who I based that off of. I don't know. I don't have my phone.
Wasn't it Andre Ethier?
Possibly.
That's a long time. Even that's a long time.
I know. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. There's nothing out there right now.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I was thinking, like, you offer him, like, a 10-year, $100 million contract.
Well, I don't know if I'm doing all that.
I mean, 10 for 10, that's $10 million a year.
$10 million a year. It's, like, it's not a lot per year for a guy who's going to be very productive.
No, but
Would he sign that? Would they do that?
I think I'd want to see another year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let's say at the end of this. How old is he?
20. He went to college.
He's 25 years old. Here's I
guess
pulled
I
up
wouldn't
the
want to sign him
graphic
for 10 years.
that Jason sent us a while ago.
Yeah.
25 years old. His prediction 6 years, 41. His comp was 7 question marks, and his explanation was 41 million is quite a raise, but there's literally nothing to compare him to in the past.
Yeah, I'm thinking like when I 10 to 100 with maybe the last year or two being like maybe it's 8 with 2 option years, 8 for 75 with 2 option years at the end.
He might mess around and make the All-Star team. He
could.
He gonna mess around and make the All-Star team, and then
he is very good to elite at everything but power, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I already won a Gold Glove as a rookie.
Yeah.
Great speed on the bases, great contact, gets on base.
Seems like a great team guy.
Yeah. And, I mean, they've already handed out 2 mammoth contracts, the last 2, and Jose and
You'd love
and
to see
Jimenez.
it.
and
There is, I mean, can we point out the elephant in the room? There is a difference. Quan grew up here and is American, and he did not grow up.
Yeah, the players that come from other countries are more likely
to sign long-term extensions.
But you know, it would be fascinating if they do sign Quan and eventually get Jimenez up to the 2 spot, as you suggest, which I think is where he should be in the long 2 or 4. Yeah. I know he doesn't feel like a traditional 4 hitter, but we don't do that anymore.
I know.
But anyway, if they sign Quan, and now for the next decade, Quan, Jimenez,
and Jose
1, 2, 3 in your lineup.
I'll take that.
That's a nice. They carrying them right now.
I mean, all 3 of them are playing great.
Yeah.
Brennan's obviously been clutch when he's had his opportunity, and he was clutch yesterday. Mike had an insane question about Will Brennan. What do you want to throw that
I'll
out?
ask you, and you guys tell me why I'm wrong. I'll defend this to the death. Outside of Jose, is there another player on the Guardians right now today?
Yeah.
You want up in a clutch situation?
The
with
last
Will
2
Brennan?
people we just named, Jimenez and
Quan.
And Quan. I'd much rather have those guys. I like Will Brennan. And he had a big day yesterday, but like I'm not gonna, Tuffy Rhodes hit 3 home runs on opening day for the Cubs one year, and then hit 3 the rest of the season.
Hey, look, see,
we've had a lot of ninth.
And I think Will Brennan's a lot better than Tuffy Rhodes. But
listen, we've had a lot of ninth inning at bats this year, and there's only one guy who's consistently come through in the clutch. I'm just saying, right now.
See, you fell into the trap.
Don't sleep on my boy Will Brennan.
You fell into the trap. Bull, that was the East Coast. That was an East Coast sports talk thing he hit you with. Tuffy Rhodes.
Tuffy Rhodes,
I remember
baby.
that. I remember that.
One of the all-time home run leaders in Japan.
Speaking of, real quick before we go
Yeah.
to the next part of the Guardians, Steve Becker just texted us and said Michael Harris is a comp for Quan, who signed an 8-year, $72 million deal with the Braves last year. Harris hit 19 home runs, though, last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did Quan have, 7?
But
if Quan hits 15.
Well, what did Harris hit, though? What was his batting average list? What was
Harris
his on base?
last year won Rookie of the Year, hit 297 with a 340 on base percentage.
I looked at that Harris contract for a comp for someone. I don't remember who.
That's funny because he signed 872. I was just saying 8 for 75, so maybe it would have to be a little less than Harris. I think he's better defensively than Harris, but that might be a comp. I do think Harris is going to have more. And maybe Quan will hit for a little more power. You'd like him to at least be able to hit 10 to 15 home runs. I'm not asking for a ton.
What did he hit last year? Was it 6 or 7?
Something like that. I don't remember exactly.
I'm on it. Hold on.
I think he is what he is on the power department.
Yeah.
I don't think you're getting 15. I mean, maybe 1 year. I think Omar hit like 12 or 15 1 year. You might have one fluky year.
He hit 6 last year.
But to count on that consistently,
no.
I don't think that'll ever be part of
probably
his game.
Probably not. But, guys, I wanted to get to something else with the Guardians because it's very rare that I'm critical of Terry Francona. But there's 2 things this weekend that I didn't like. I thought he made some big mistakes, okay? Let's go to Friday night's game. And if I get my internet to work, we'll see. But
we're having internet issues back here, so it's not just you.
We are?
Tag board's down completely.
So on Friday night, guys,
left Savalian.
He left Savalian too long. First of all, I would have. What was it? It was the 6th inning, right? That he took him out.
Yeah.
That's when they blew the lead. So it was 3-0 going to the 5th. He gives up 2 runs in the 5th to make it 3-2. Now, he's already at 80-something pitches. I know he had pitched great his first start, but he clearly was kind of losing it in the fifth. It's 3-2. You're coming off an off day, so everybody's available in the pen. I thought he was clearly going to be out to start the sixth, but he wasn't. And he actually struck out the first batter in the sixth. Then he gives up a double to Kelenic, who looked good in this series. Guy's been a top prospect, hasn't really put it together.
He's very good.
But so Kelenic hits the double, and at that point I'm like, well, now he's got to take him out.
Yeah.
It's 3-2. You got to take him out. Of course he doesn't. They blow the lead, and then whoever came in. Who came in? I forgot. Whoever came in was Sandlin. I don't remember. Whoever came in ended up giving up a home run. You know, and maybe he would have given up a home run anyway. But Mike, see if you can look up who came in. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm on it right now.
I think it was
Sandlin.
I think it was Sandlin. And here's the thing, though. Here's what really bothered me about this. A, I thought Francona should have taken him out of the 5. B, at the very least, take him out of the double, because now you bring in Sandlin in a tie game, and the first batter he's got to face is Rodriguez, who hits the home run.
Yeah.
When I bring in a reliever, especially
and Sandlin isn't even one of their top 3 options.
Right. When I'm bringing in a middle reliever guy,
It was Sandlin, by the way.
What's that?
It was Sandlin.
Okay. I don't want his first batter that he has to face in a big spot to be the best player on the other team if I can avoid it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't, but they could have. At the very least, he should have taken. He was over 90 pitches by the time once Kelenic hits that double. I didn't see why you stuck with him. It's early in the year. I don't know. What did you guys?
No, Zach and I actually had that exact conversation in the press
Yeah.
box, and kind of came to the same conclusion you did. That we were a little bit surprised that Savali was still in there. I think Tito said after the game he earned the right to try and get through
But
that
has
and get out
he?
of it. But I think he meant just by how well he had pitched to start the year in his previous start and then in this start. Tito's always going to – he is a player's manager, and he's always going to – we've seen it with Rosario. He's always going to side with his players and give them the opportunity to try and work out of things. But I tend to agree with you. I was a little bit surprised that he was still in there.
See what he do? He does. So he does this like it's like being a manager at a working with people. If you got people on your roster that you have hired, you've brung in, you've trained them, they've been there a year, gave them a raise, or you give them a little bit of leeway and leash, right? But sometimes that come back to backfire on you, bro. Like at some point, he wants to have a whole big body of work that he can point to say, I can't play you no more. Right? He wants to have data. Like, yeah, you messed up this time, and we got to move on. Like, but from game to game, he's not really counting it like that. He's not even accounting for it. He just knows this dude is a veteran. I'm gonna play him. I've chosen him for the roster. Right. Let's keep it moving.
And Francona is always thinking 3 steps ahead. I get it. He's thinking about the next start and long-term confidence. I get it. I'm not killing him. I just didn't like that. Now, this one, to me, is even worse. And I've been talking about this for a year. On Saturday, the Guardians were down 3-0 in that game. They make it 3-2. They have, I think it was the 7th. Mike, double check for me again because my internet's not working. The Guardians have the bases loaded, 2 outs. I think it was the 7th. Gabe Spire on the mound. Now, he's a young pitcher, hasn't pitched that much. He's a lefty. Gabriel Arias is available on the bench. Josh Naylor is up. 3-2 game, bases loaded, 2 outs. Correct me if I'm wrong about that in the 7th inning.
You're right.
I'm right. And he lets Josh Naylor hit. Now, Jason, I think we talked about this before the season. Listen, Josh Naylor's been in the big leagues for 5 years. He has almost 300 plate appearances against lefties. He cannot hit lefties, period. He can't. His OPS against lefties in his career is .540. That's Austin. He is Austin Hedges against lefties. That's how bad he is. He hasn't gotten a single hit against lefties this year. He has 13 extra base hits in 280 some odd plate appearances against lefties in his career. He can't do it. And then you pinch hit Arias in the 8th when there's nobody on. Like, why would you not bring I wouldn't even have started Naylor again. To me, if I'm Francona, he doesn't play against lefties anymore. I'm done.
Well,
but why would you not pinch hit for him there in the 7th?
Because it's April, and I think they want to be sure that you're right. Because last year, I mean, he had the massive, nasty ankle injury.
Yeah.
In what, like May, wasn't it that he got hurt?
Yep.
Last year was really his first full year as an everyday big leaguer. I'm not ready to say he can't hit lefties. He hasn't to this point. no question.
Yeah.
But he's still only, what, 25,
25.
26? Like, he's still a young guy. And it's April. Like, if it's September and game's on the line and they got to have it, maybe he does pinch hit him if he has a full season like this. I just think that they want to give him – he was in there against Marco Gonzalez. Start him against another lefty.
Right.
I think they want to give him –
Well, that was the same game.
Right.
That's
But I'm saying, like, you could have sat him –
Right.
and put Arias in the game. You
Right.
could have started Arias as a righty against the lefty, but they started him against a lefty and
But
Gonzalez.
why? Like,
because
why?
I think they want to give him opportunities to see if he can hit lefties or not.
But
because they have to make a long-term decision on him as well.
But don't you think I think we already know he can't hit lefties.
I disagree.
I think it's enough plate appearances that we know. We're
it
pretty
could be.
sure.
I mean, I don't know. Because, again, he's had one full year in the majors. So I'm not ready to declare a guy can or can't do anything based on one full season.
It's 280 plate appearances. That's a lot against lefties.
I think the Guardians do this. The Guardians, the way they look at their team, they say, look, we're not paying nobody no crazy money. We on prospects. So they slow play everything. Because if you make a bad decision in paying somebody, you're over. If you don't pay somebody and go somewhere else, you're over. So they like, listen, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get everybody an ample opportunity to show you can't play guaranteed, and then we can have an informed decision.
Yeah.
But I think because there's nothing coming behind them. Like, so you look at all the players that we just talked about, you got to make a decision on. He's 25, but he's one of your main power sources. So you need to figure out, can he bat? Is Oscar Gonzalez a full-time player? He hasn't shown it yet. Quan ain't got a contract or a deal. You don't know what you're doing with Rosario. And you got Bo Naylor, who, is he going to play? Is he going to come back? They got all these decisions to make, but they don't got no at-bats for everybody. Like, they need to figure out.
Quan, you don't have to worry about
Quan,
it. It's
he's
a while.
still under control
Yeah,
for
yeah.
5 years,
Yeah.
whether you sign him to a deal or not. Personal opinion, not sourced or anything.
Yeah.
I think that they will probably give Josh April, May, June, and July against lefties, give him a
Yeah.
healthy amount of at-bats against lefties. If he still is struggling as badly as he has, they probably go make a move for a Jordan Luplow type at the deadline. At the trade deadline. You have to give these guys an ample amount of time. And then maybe Arias does start to chew into those.
To me, they said
that's
the
whole reason Arias
Arias
is
is a top prospect. It's not like he's a nothing prospect. Obviously, he's a big prospect. They said they want to get him at bats. To me, it makes perfect sense to get him at bats against lefties.
And I think against tough lefties, Arias will be in there.
Yeah.
Marco Gonzalez, to me, isn't a top lefty, so you give Naylor the opportunity.
Think about that. So now you look at Naylor, 280 plate appearances against lefties, and he's probably sitting against the toughest lefties. More, especially in the last year. And so even with that, even though he's only facing secondary lefties, his numbers are still. It's not just bad; it's horrific against lefties.
I think I will. I agree with you, and I think I will get to the point where I totally agree with you. But I
want to give him another few months.
Yeah, I think we need to see, is he an everyday player or is he a strong side platoon? And that will really dictate what his future is here and what the contracts look like. And they have to figure that out. They have to know, because if he can't hit lefties, maybe George Valera can. Maybe that's how they fit Valera into the lineup. Maybe they move on from Naylor and Valera is the everyday free. I'm just throwing something out.
Yeah, sure.
Or Gonzalez is adequate against lefties, or is he a platoon guy? And I don't think that they're ready to declare that.
Yeah, and the problem with Naylor, too, is he's a one-dimensional player.
He is.
Especially if he can't hit lefties. He's got power against right-handed pitching. He's not good in the field. He has his base running is, nothing. He has no speed. So, I mean, I like Naylor. He brings energy. And against righties, he's solid.
He mauls righties.
He's good.
Yeah.
But there's only so much I'm willing to pay a guy like that who's as limited as he is.
And that's what they're trying to get to. That's what they're trying to figure out.
All right. Anyway, they do salvage the final game. Start a 3-game series with the Yankees tonight.
Big series.
Ooh. Shane Bieber on the hill tonight. Garrett Cole pitches tomorrow. That would have been cool if they would have faced each other.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna move on here in a second. I hate the schedule. Like, they're done with the Mariners.
Yeah.
It's April and they're done.
Yeah.
And I mean, good thing they won that game yesterday, because now they would hold the tiebreaker.
Yes.
If it comes down to it in terms of postseason seeding or whatever.
Right.
But I just hate the fact. I would love to see the Yankees here twice. I would like to see the Mariners. I hate interleague. I wish they would abolish interleague play. I think.
Well,
it's
they went
dumb.
the opposite way. There's more interleague
I know.
now.
I think it's dumb. I wish that they would. I'd rather see 2 series with the Yankees than get the friggin' Reds in here. Who cares about the Reds?
Well, but now you get to see the Mets one time, or you get to see the Dodgers.
I don't like it. I'd rather get
I
the
like
Yankees and the
interleague.
Red Sox.
I like interleague.
You down with interleague?
Yeah, you know me.
I think the Guardians would rather get 2 series with the Yankees.
Well,
get the gates. Get the gates.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mikey.
We're going to pivot to the Cavs, but first we have a new sponsor alert. The USFL is back. You can never get enough football. They are playing in Canton. They will be a sponsor with us throughout the summer, and we will have a guest from the USFL on every Friday. This next Cavs segment is brought to us by our good friends at the USFL. Check them out. You will not want to miss it. Some great football coming over the summer. The Cavs close out the regular season, 51-31. We will get to our preseason predictions gone wrong in a sec, but with Jason here, there's a particular hill that he has already told us he will die on, and there has never been a more appropriate time to talk about the Danny Green conundrum than right now, Jason. I'm ready to die on the hill with you, Jason.
Yeah,
come on, there's plenty of room.
You know,
there's plenty of room on the hill.
You've talked about, you've called yourself out on the Mike Miller thing, and it didn't work out.
Did not work out.
Danny Green played significant minutes these last two games against Orlando and who the hell did they play yesterday? Charlotte. And he played well, especially in the Orlando game. I think he had 20-something points in that game.
21 points, 5 threes.
Yeah, there you go.
What did he look like defensively?
I don't know how much you watched it, but
I'll be honest, not a ton.
Yeah.
But I was excited to see.
Yeah.
I think I was in Vegas for the Orlando game. I think that's when we were in Vegas. I don't remember.
So is this we're not playing any starter or not playing many starters, and so we'll just give him minutes, or is this something to learn for the playoffs?
This is something to learn for the playoffs,
Okay.
and I think they wanted to do this earlier, and he had the COVID issue, and it just kind of messed up the timing with everything. But I think the plan all along was bring him along slowly, make sure he's healthy, coming off the ACL, and when the opportunity was right, get him a couple runs in and see what he looks like.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you can't be anything but ecstatic with. No, he can't move. To your point, defensively, he's not great defensively. He can't move. But in postseason, the game slows down. It becomes a half-court game, and it's not. It's more important to me that you guard all 5 guys on the floor, and that's what Danny forces you to do. You have to guard him.
Right.
And people will push back and say, okay, well, Okoro's making his shots. Fine, he is. Yes, he's improved his shot. He had a wonderful year for his standards. But teams don't care. They're not going to guard him, even if he hurts you with 2 or 3 threes. All those other possessions, they're going to play 4-on-5 against you.
Right.
And Green does not allow teams to play that way. They have to be aware of where he is on the floor because he will punish teams on those corner threes. So I think he's going to have a big role, even before the Isaac knee injury. And there's still some uncertainty with where he's at health-wise and when he'll be back. I've thought all along, I thought Green was going to play a significant role for the Cavs in these playoffs.
I know I get it. I listen to a lot of local guys talk about Isaac Okoro. I get it, bro. Like, we like him. We want to wrap our arms around him. He's the best dude I know. He's a nice guy. But look, man, there's going to be times in the playoffs, Isaac Okoro is going to look like he does not belong on the floor. Because there's going to be times when he's going to guard somebody that's really, really an offensive juggernaut because he usually plays the best guy on the floor. And he's going to be getting buckets put on him. And then they're going to pass the ball to him in the corner. And he's not going to hit open jumpers. And you may see a league go from 3 to 6 to 12. And you're like, we can't play. We're playing 4-on-5. Listen, in certain spots, I'm telling you that's going to happen. Go back and look at what Ty Lue used to do. Ty Lue would dust somebody off in one game. You'd be like, where did Channing Frye come from this game? Dante Jones got some.
Dante had a big couple 3-4 minute stretch in the finals.
Mo Williams came in and hit a couple of big buckets. So you need to have the rotation. And this is what I'm looking at. I'm waiting to see if J.B. Bickerstaff understands playoff rotation. Sometimes you got to do some big time changes. Like you're like, whoa, dude. I remember Ty Lue sat Kevin Love down when he did that. I say, oh goodness.
Brought him off the bench.
Brought him up, and I'm like, this was Kevin Love almost, I wouldn't say prime, but Kevin Love was big part of what they did. He sat him right on down and said, we can't do that. We're going to go in another direction. I'm waiting to see if the rubber meets the road when you get tight. Is JB going to make some pulls and switches like that? Because that's what you need to do.
And the one thing we know is Danny Green's not going to be uptight playing in the playoffs.
No.
Where some of these young guys,
you just don't
know.
Yeah, there's 2 guys on this roster you can count on that at the moment is not too big for them. Donovan Mitchell and Danny Green.
That's it.
That's it.
No Rubio?
I think Rubio, he needed one more year. He didn't right the ace, the knee.
But just in terms of like not being awed by the playoffs.
He won't be overwhelmed by the moment, but
Yeah.
I don't know that you can count on him to deliver big minutes.
So do you expect Danny Green to, like, what's your expectation right now for his role in this first round?
If Okoro is healthy, and I don't know that we know that he will be, but if he's healthy, I think he will be on an extremely short leash. And I think Danny he may not start game one at the small forward spot, but I think by the end of the series, Danny will have a significant role. I just think, and there's nothing against Isaac. Like, I really don't want it to sound like I'm down on Isaac because he's had a great year. Like, he's improved his shot. He's great defensively. But I look at Isaac in the playoffs, and I see Jordan Clarkson and Rodney Hood. And you saw in 2018 that they just didn't fit, and they were overwhelmed by the moment.
Yeah.
And I just get concerned that could be Isaac in that spot. And Danny won't be. And Danny, you can count on Danny. If the ball's going to the corner and you need a shot clock's running down, or the end of game, end of half, he's not going to do one of those. He's going to step in and he's going to deliver the shot.
And especially, to me, you can't when your second leading scorer is Darius Garland, who you don't know either. Darius Garland, you expect him to show up and do his thing, but I can't count on that. I don't know yet. And if he's having a bad game, tough game, where he's not shooting the ball well, maybe he's having a tough guy guarding Jalen Brunson, which will be a nightmare, by the way. It might be something where you need Danny Green.
Yeah.
You need some points off the bench.
Cavs favored by 6 for the first game of the series. I saw something earlier that according to DraftKings, they were 85% of the money was going early on the Knicks, +6.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah. The Cavs and Knicks will play in Cleveland in the first game at 6 p.m. on Saturday.
Yeah.
So, Mikey, go ahead. What do you got?
I just got one more thing on the Danny Green and Okoro thing in the playoffs. When the regular season and postseason, we've talked about it before, there is no bigger difference between regular season and postseason in any sport than basketball.
Yes.
It's
Correct.
2 completely different games.
Yes.
And for guys like Mitchell and Garland, to have a guy in Danny Green who they are confident will step up in the moment and at least take the shot, maybe not make it, but at least take the shot, as opposed to the unknown with Okoro, it actually allows them to play a little more freely and not feel like they have to force everything offensively, because if they're not getting a shot,
point.
there's no guarantee that the other guy in the corner where the help's coming from is even willing to take that shot in that moment. So Danny Green's still a major unknown, but I do think what we do actually know about him from his previous playoff experience trumps whatever Okoro gives you, even if defensively he's by no means an upgrade over Okoro.
I don't love this matchup for the Cavs. Like, I don't love it at all. I don't think they match well with the Knicks. I've talked all year. I'm not going to put a ton into regular season. Everyone's going crazy because the Cavs beat the Celtics twice in November. It's like, yeah, that's cute, but I mean, does anyone care about that now? No, of course not. But the thing that concerns me with the Cavs is how pick and roll heavy they are. They are extremely pick and roll heavy, and that's the first thing Tom Thibodeau can take away. Tom's a terrific defensive-minded NBA head coach. The Knicks are going to have plenty of time to look at the Cavs' tendencies. They understand how pick and roll heavy they are. You send 2 defenders at the ball handler. You force the ball out of Donovan's hands. That's the number one thing the Knicks are going to try and do, is get the ball out of Donovan's hands. And, I mean, Donovan, he's experienced that before. Like in Utah, I'm sure teams guarded him the same way. Mm-hmm. But Tibbs is really good at it. And so what else can you do? What else do you have in your bag when the Knicks send 2 defenders at Donovan on a pick and roll and blitz him and try and get the ball out of his hands? Who else is going to emerge and make that play? So they're going to have to, I don't think the Cavs are going to hold serve at home. I think they're going to lose a game at home. Mm-hmm. It's just the nature of the playoffs. They're a young team. They're going through it for the first time. Can they win a game in the Garden? Because I believe they're going to have to get at least one.
I was just about to ask you that.
And that's a tough. And the Knicks have not been great at home.
So do you guys think they can? And what's the latest with Julius Randle? What's the update on him?
He's progressing. This was this morning. He is.
That's a big deal, obviously.
Progressing nicely and expected to be a full go for game 1.
Okay.
I just
can they? Yes.
Yes.
Will they? I don't know, man. It's a big ask.
You're gonna need somebody. It always comes down to the others. Somebody other than Donovan Mitchell is going to have to step up and be like, oh no, like we can't stop him either. That's just how it's going to have to be. So whether it's Evan Mobley getting the ball at the high post, being a creator, getting people in foul trouble, and the thing the Cavs, another uphill battle is the bench. The Knicks bench is better than the Cavs. The Knicks bench is more consistent.
They've killed them for what it's worth in the regular season. The Knicks bench has killed the Cavs bench.
So here's the thing with bench play in the playoffs. In the first round, you're going to play 8 and trust 7. So that 8th guy is going to play 8 minutes. But you're really, especially in the Cavs situation, you're only going 3 deep on the bench, and you're really only playing 2.
Right.
And then that third guy, whoever that is, like I think Karis LeVert's probably going to play decent minutes off the bench. Beyond that, I don't know. Is it Rubio? I don't know. Is it Danny Green, the Okoro? We've already had that conversation.
Right.
Is it Danny Green and LeVert? Are the 2 guys you're trusting? Are they starting Green over Okoro, and Okoro's out completely by the end of the series? That wouldn't terribly shock me.
The Cavs are the number 1 team defensively, right?
Correct.
Is there another level that they can get to where it's like, people usually ratchet up their play, right? Either offensively or defensively, depending on what you hang your hat on. Is that something that the Cavs can do in order to nullify some of the things offensively?
Well, again, like I think Mobley and Allen play really well in the playoffs in this half-court style because, again, the game slows down, the pace goes down. The Cavs are already one of the slowest teams. They may be the slowest team in the league. I don't remember. I haven't seen the pace rankings lately. But the game slows down into the half-court. It becomes a half-court set type thing. I'll take my chances with Mobley and Allen on the back line on that. I think that's real. I think what they did defensively this year is real. I think that does translate to the playoffs, and I think that's what they got to hang their hat on if they're going to win the series.
Anybody concerned that the Cavs haven't played a meaningful game in a while? Or no big deal?
I'm a little bit concerned. We were talking about that on the call. Mikey was saying it's like 13 days between
12
games.
12 days between their last regular season game and game 1 of the playoffs.
See, during the title...
Well, the last regular season game that mattered.
That they played. Yeah, all starters.
Okay,
April
all the
4th.
starters. Yeah, right.
The title team needed those breaks. Like, they would sweep teams, and they would take a week off.
Yeah.
But they were a veteran team. They knew how to take care of their bodies. They knew.
Right.
And they needed that time off. Like, they counted on that time off. This being a young team, I would like to see them keep a little bit more of a rhythm. I'm guessing that they're going to have some pretty spirited scrimmages this week at Cleveland Clinic courts to try and keep guys in rhythm as much as they can, in shape. But yeah, I think absolutely it's a concern. And I know JB went to the guys and asked them, do you want to play in this last game or do you want to take it off?
Yeah.
Donovan elected to take it off. Mobley elected to play. Donovan knows his body. He's one of those veteran guys. He understands.
Right.
Not really worried about him so much as maybe Darius and Evan, who are going through this for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit of concern that that's a long time between games.
G, what about you?
I don't think, man. Listen, if you can't, this comes like when you look at young players and you look at professionals.
It's only because I got them with 49 wins this year.
I got it with 48 wins.
It's not that wrong.
It's because the East is so
It
tough.
is. Like, I can't believe y'all.
Hold on. You're good. It's someone in V-Mix. You're good.
Okay, V-Mix is back. We're back.
Yeah.
Well, it's back working.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're a young dude and you can't get up for the playoffs, something wrong.
Yeah.
You better get your shots in. You better.
It's not so much getting up for the playoffs. It's just keeping your rhythm.
Rhythm, right.
The rhythm of the season and the rhythm of games every day.
I'll tell you
every
what,
other,
guys.
every other day, every
I'll
3
tell
days.
you what. You know what will keep them in their rhythm and keep them in shape? A Built Bar, Mikey.
And guess what? We'll tell you about Built Bar. Ironically, they moved their reads to Wednesday and Friday, so you can still, even on a non-Built Bar ad read day, Built Bar 15% off. Locked on 15. Use the promo code at built.com. But I do have a different read to tell you guys about.
Yeah,
We're going to go back into the archives and check out what PCC Airfoils is telling us from October 19th. Before we do that, though, if you need a job, well, PCC Airfoils is looking to hire people that want career advancement and great benefits. PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio, and all locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. So during football season, every Thursday we did No Fence Riders, and we would go through a series of definitive yes or no questions based on the Browns games. But on October 19th,
I'm glad I missed this show.
we did a No Fence Riders edition of the Cavs preseason picks, stuff that we thought would happen during the regular season.
And we all went
Steve,
3-3, right?
You can take
G went
172
4-2.
tag board. 172 on the VO. We got a lot of things pulled up back here. We got
Yeah.
shots to play. We got everything. Take that. These were the standings from our No Fence Riders results. G. Bush is the winner at 4-2. Everyone else went 3-3, and we're going to play back a couple clips from the show
Okay.
to laugh at what we had. One of the questions was, Will the Cavs win 51 or more games this year? Steve, take the side.
And they won exactly 50. It's only because I got them with 49 wins this year.
I got them with 48
48.
wins.
It's not that far,
It's
right?
because the East is so tough.
It is. Like, I can't believe y'all sitting there saying it's not, though. Like,
And guys, here's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if they had some growing pains early in the season.
No, I think they will.
Right? I mean,
I got growing pains. People get hurt. It's just like 48 just seems like the number.
So Tyvis, 48, catastrophically wrong.
Wait a
Bull,
second.
49,
Catastrophically?
Catastrophically wrong.
That's a lot. Say 3 games.
That's not
Hey,
catastrophic.
if you had 3 games, and some people that'd be in the playoffs.
3 games, Bull.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Bad job out of you.
Mike,
I said 49.
Even worse job out of you.
That's not even worse. That's closer. I was only 2 off.
I'm
But
the one who gets to say good
your
job,
sis-
bad
due to
job.
your
I'm
stature.
saying bad job out of you.
Your status is higher, so you got more pressure on you,
I
dog.
don't know, man. We were close.
Okay, well that
All right,
was
go ahead.
that was one bad answer. G. Bush, you're on the hot seat for the next one.
All right.
No, Steve, 174 on your SOT list.
On the SOT
Okay.
list, Steve. Come on with the SOTs.
This was, will the Cavs have 3 All-Stars this season? And G. Bush,
How many did I say they was gonna get?
play
There
the
we
clip,
go. We're
Steve.
going to find out.
Explain yourself, G.
Well, this easy. It's easy money. Darius Garland was already an All-Star, right? Tyvis knows how this game works. Being an All-Star and being All-State is one thing. My dad always told me, if you make All-State as a junior, they have no choice but to put you as All-State as a senior.
That's about right.
You understand? Oh my God! Don't let you make it as a sophomore. You ain't got to do nothing. No tackles, no production. So he's already Darius Garland is already All-Star. He will be an All-Star again, and he got a max deal, so people think he's crazy. Now, Donovan Mitchell is if he averages anything over 23, they're gonna be pressed to put him in there, right? And then so 3,
Evan Mobley.
Evan Mobley. You ever notice?
Replaces Allen.
Yes. You got that up and coming dude, right?
Allen, what Mobley an All-Star last year?
No, he wasn't.
He was
No,
the
he
rookie.
was not. Rookie
He played in the
All-Star.
rookie.
Oh, Allen was the All-Star.
Allen was
Yes.
the All-Star,
Okay.
yeah.
So Mobley will get what I call that up and coming love.
Yeah.
Like they'll just be like, this guy in 5 years. How they used to talk about Giannis?
Yeah.
This guy, you play against Kobe or LeBron. This guy.
Well, they was right about that. So.
G. Bush, catastrophically wrong.
Well, Jason got it wrong, too, because I saw on the graphic he had over 3 All-Stars.
Jason just wasn't on that day, so we couldn't roast
Yeah.
him.
Right.
By the way,
That's
I
why I'm
like
glad
the
I
fact
missed
that
that
it's,
day.
I like that they're going with black and white for the old clips.
All
Good
jokes
job with that.
aside, though, like you got to think about it. I should get some credit because Mobley is going to be on an all-defensive team.
He might be Defensive Player of the
He
Year.
might
We're
be
gonna talk about
Defensive
that later
Player of
in
the
week.
Year. I'm just saying, which is higher than the All-Star
I
appearance.
thought I wasn't on that day, but I thought they would have 2 All-Stars and an injury replacement as a third. Like that's what Allen was last year.
Right.
Jarrett was an injury replacement
Right.
added later on. I thought they would get probably Darius and Donovan on, and Darius actually had a better year than he had last year.
Can we see Darius Garland's numbers? I mean, bad job out of the fans. What were you thinking? This team is 4th in the East. He averaged 20-some points. What do you want? It's a popularity contest. What is that? Look at that. It's almost 50% from the field, 41 for 3, and he's averaging 8 assists.
Yeah, I knew he wasn't going to make it as we were getting closer to the All-Star, but he was certainly worthy of it. I thought they'd have 2, and then Mobley would be a late ad, but it didn't work out.
Hey,
That's
man,
a
you
swing
know.
and a miss
It
for
didn't
me.
happen.
And we have one more.
Yep.
Steve, play the last shot, please. This is our one unanimous answer, and I'm shocked because
Yes.
when you look at how this equates, I'm not sure where you're going to find those points. But will anyone on the Cavs bench average more than 12.5 points a game? And everybody on the panel said yes. Well, you guys were all wrong.
Everybody was wrong.
You guys were all wrong. If you look at this, it was close. Y'all almost got me. LeVert averaged 12.1 points a game. Jetty, 7.8. Danny Green only played like 4 games, was at 6.5. Akuro started most of the season. He was at
Did it say
6.4,
more than
so-
12.5?
12.5.
Yeah.
You dirty.
Don't hate the house.
You
That's
dirty.
like what happened to me in Vegas, man.
You
Dealer
Jay
showing
also,
6.
in that clip, you guys all talked over each other, but Jay was like, Mikey, how could you ask that question? Of course they're going to do it.
3, 2.
But yeah.
And it
Dealer
won't
showing a
score.
6, flips an 8, and pulls a
21.
7. 21.
No. Didn't happen.
12-5, 12-1.
All right, but you know what? Despite making fun of us, which is deserved, we overall did all right. Nobody
You
finished
guys did
under
pretty
500.
good. The other questions, by the way,
Yeah.
that we asked that we didn't pull clips from was, is Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, will they be the best backcourt duo in the Eastern Conference?
Isn't that a subjective question, though?
It was, but you guys said yes, and we went with yes. They had the best numbers of 2 guards in the conference this year.
I'd take Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum over
See,
them.
Those aren't guards.
that's
It was
cheating.
guards.
Guards
Those
only.
are forwards. I think both of those guys are forwards. That's why Jaylen Brown's not
Did
going
I
to make
answer
All-NBA.
yes to that? What did I answer?
You guys all got that one right. Next was, will Evan Mobley average a double-double? G and Tyvis said no. Everyone else said yes. G was right on that. That was the differentiating factor.
Yeah.
Allen take up a lot of rebounds, bro. It's hard to get two dudes to give double-digit rebounds.
Yeah. And then, will Donovan Mitchell be a top 5 scorer in the NBA this season? And despite him averaging a career-high 28.3 points a game, to Bull's point, it has never been easier to score. He finished 7th in the league in scoring.
I was saying this before the show, that like often when we're debating football, a lot of times Jay, and you too sometimes, not as much as Jay, but you guys will often bring up a 1,000-yard season. And to me, a 1,000-yard season in football doesn't mean what it used to. It's 1,200 now.
I will give you that because even when you do 1,000 yards when it was what, 16 games?
Right.
It's only like 75
Right.
a game.
Now it's even less.
Now
Plus,
it's even less.
Offense has exploded. So to me, the number's 1,200. Same thing in the NBA. To me, scoring 20 points, yes, it's good, but it's not what it used to be.
Not what it used to be.
Now, to me, that number's 24, 25.
If you get 24, you cooking a little bit if you 24. Dudes getting 30. Like, and old dudes is getting 30.
Where did Donovan Mitchell average over 28 a game, and he finished what in the NBA?
7th.
7th?
5 guys. No, I lied. 6 guys averaged over 30 points per game this year.
6.
And you know the game has changed.
I mean, come on.
When you play
And
against
real quick,
Joel
G, sorry to
Embiid,
cut you off. Sorry. How many people averaged 20 points a game this year?
55.
And not rounding up. This is at least 20 points legitimately.
55.
Not enough.
More?
More.
Wow.
72.
You were very close at 55.
Oh, so 58.
58, yes.
58. That's on average 2 players per team almost.
Yeah.
some teams got 3.
I mean, 58. How many? 10 years ago.
That is bonkers.
Go look at the 2013 statistics.
I'm on it. So 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
Listen,
How many
In the-
guys averaged 20
In
points?
the regular 11.
11. 47 more. That's more than 4 times more.
they see here. I've been trying to say this for like a year. They got to move the 3-point line back.
Well, you'd have to make the court. I would love to see them. I don't think they're going to make any of these changes because they don't seem to care.
But it's
Wouldn't you like it if they made the entire court bigger or at least wider
That 3-point shot got it. Listen,
and move back to
it's
3?
a
But
late-
they don't want to because they like the 3.
They like the scoring.
But there should be a risk reward. Like you shouldn't be able to just like if you're gonna have the analytics where say it's either a layup or dunk or free throw or a 3-point shot, you should at least have to work for the 3-point.
I'm waiting for them to put up. What's the matter, Mikey?
No, so I had to cough, but I want to cough into the mic.
Yeah.
But to G's point, real quick, I don't think it's the free throws and threes. It's teams just don't play defense. In the regular season, no one tries on defense the last 3 minutes of a game, and you're just getting open shot after open shot. I don't think the court's too small. I think
It's getting worse by the year.
because look at the postseason scoring. You're not going to see scores in the
No.
120s. It's going to be
Some of the
much
scores the
closer than we
last
think.
couple of days when it was not even start. Like we just did Golden State score like 150 yesterday or something?
We're playing a game later about that, so don't steal my thunder.
Okay.
The players don't want to move the line back. The players like it right where it is.
Yeah, because they like putting up huge numbers.
They don't want to change anything.
The numbers do not have the same credibility that they used to
They don't
have.
want- and plus, I don't think if you start, I mean, let's make the base paths 85 feet or 95. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think you want to
They're not
start
gonna do
messing
it.
with.
I'm waiting for them to make the half-court line a 4-point shot.
Well, I'm waiting for the Rock and Jock 10-point shot.
That was a 25 at the end of the,
By the way,
quarter.
if they made the half-court line a 4-point shot, and Steph Curry took, I know this would never happen, but let's say he took 10 4-point shots a game, what would he average? What would he make?
3.
I'd say 4, 3 or 4.
You think he'd make 3 or 4 out of 10?
Yeah.
I mean, Dame Lillard did it in the All-Star game, and I think he made 2 half quarters.
Dame Lillard, dude.
Half-court shots now are nothing.
Right.
Right now, and this is the crazy part about the playoffs. In the playoffs, nobody misses. I remember the Cavs playing the Raptors one year or the Hawks one year, and nobody would miss. I mean, they ran them boys
Dude,
all the way.
Mike Budenholzer was basically in tears.
He was.
I'm serious. At the in post games, I felt bad for the guy. I wanted to hand him a beer because he was just like,
I don't know
what to do.
I don't know. He's like, we were running at guys. I mean, nobody.
They would put LeBron and 4 shooters on the floor.
it
And
was-
what do you LeBron, Channing, JR, Kyrie, and Kevin? What are you going to do with
And
that?
then they was bringing Kyle Korver off the bench, and he wouldn't miss. Channing Frye went bonkers one. Like the whole series, he wouldn't miss from the top of the key.
Yeah.
I was like, bro,
Yeah.
this is disgusting.
One of the most amazing stories in NFL history is the story of London Fletcher, and he's going to join us in just a minute or so.
He's here.
But first,
so real
before-
quick, two things. It's 12 o'clock. Before we bring on London, I need to remind you guys that the 12 o'clock lunch hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is brought to us by Colleague Racing, the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. And this interview with London Fletcher is brought to us by Lincoln Electric. Now hiring for great jobs. They are experts in the manufacturing and welding field. Check them out at Lincoln Electric. And with that, Cleveland native, should be Hall of Famer, London Fletcher. How you doing, sir?
Yeah.
I'm doing great. What's going on, guys?
Hey, London. DeQuell Jackson is a good friend of ours. We love DeQuell, and he was like, oh, London's the best. You're going to love talking to him.
Yeah. DeQuell sent me a text about you guys. He said you guys are awesome to talk with.
Well, we appreciate that, London. Your story is really amazing. Obviously, I'm sure most of our fans know. Of course, you're a Cleveland guy, and you played Division III football. And as somebody that didn't play Division III football, but I did 8 years of play-by-play in Division III football in upstate New York, I have an affinity for Division III. Unlike in other sports, baseball and basketball, where you see Division III players make the professional leagues, in the NFL, it's unheard of for a Division III. It's very rare for a Division III player to play in the NFL, let alone have a remarkable long career in a sport that averages 3 years per player. You played for 16 years, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
And you never missed any time. Did you always believe, London, from the time you were in high school, from the time you played at John Carroll, did you believe that you were an NFL player? And how did no Division I schools go after you? I don't understand.
Well, you know what? I actually thought I was going to be an NBA player. I was a high school basketball player mainly. In high school, you only played 1 year high school football. Had Division I basketball offers. Had a few Division I football offers as well. Had Bowling Green. I want to say Miami of Ohio. Bowling Green recruited me in both football and basketball. Michigan and Ohio State both asked me to come in as a preferred walk-on down to their respective schools. But I was dead set on playing, college basketball, and I took a Division I basketball scholarship to St. Francis in PA. St. Francis, PA. Yeah. Was up there for about a year and a half, and then decided to transfer to the Division III school with John Carroll. Needed to be closer to home. You don't have to sit out any games if you go from a Division I to a Division III. So that was appealing to me. I ended up, obviously playing well and dominating at the Division III level, and I guess they could say, the rest is history.
Yeah.
London, nowadays it's so crazy because now everybody says, linebackers don't count. Linebackers, you get a linebacker week, day 2, day 3. They're not getting big contracts anymore, the linebackers.
Some of them weigh 215.
Yeah, some of them are the size of cornerbacks now. What would you say the emphasis in how important linebackers are? Because there's this thought process out here now that all you need is a couple defensive tackles. You could put a couple stiffs at linebacker, you all right. Like in your mind, what is this thing? How does this thing moving right now?
Well, I would say that's the NFL. The way the game is now, you see more the spread game, emphasis on being able to cover, especially at the linebacker position. You'll see converted safeties now playing linebacker. You see guys that, used to be where middle linebackers used to be 250, 240 pounds. You mentioned being 220, 225. There's more of an emphasis on athleticism as opposed to being big run stopping type of linebackers now. But I will say this: they're extremely important, especially in the middle of that field when you have some of the tight ends like a guy Cleveland native like Travis Kelce and some of these elite tight ends that you have to deal with. You have to have somebody who's big enough to stop them or go against them, in coverage, and also athletic enough to stay with them, from a speed standpoint. I don't think it's you still have to have excellent linebackers. You just can't throw a stiff out there and expect to win games. You still need some guys who can play football.
Lenny, you guys look at the Browns last year in the game against the Commanders. Wondering what you thought defensively of them and the moves that they've made this offseason.
Going into that game, I do the play-by-play for the Commanders. So I mean, not play-by-play, the color commentary on the radio for the Commanders. So I looked at the Browns, defense, and obviously Myles Garrett had a tremendous season. Thought Denzel Ward, he's one of the best man-to-man cover corners in the NFL, and he had a really good game against us. Linebacker-wise, I would say defensive tackle was one of the areas that I thought the Browns were kind of lacking. I felt like we'd be able to run the ball. What's that?
That's being kind.
You nice for that.
That's a compliment to what we were saying about those tackles all year
against the Browns, but it's hard to run the football when you throw an interception. So,
Yeah.
Maybe we should have ran it a little bit more, but the Browns definitely need to shore up that interior defensive line and also the linebacker core. And I saw they went out and signed the tackle from the Minnesota Vikings. I'm sure they'll look to add a couple more pieces in the draft and free agency to get that middle of that defense shored up.
London, I just wanted to go back to your career for a minute because you're third all-time in games played by a linebacker, first all-time in consecutive games played by a linebacker. How many times did you go out there on Sunday or Monday or whatever it was where you think a lot of other guys wouldn't have played? Because you had to be hurt at times in your career and you were just tough enough or whatever it was to play through it. I mean, did you come close to missing games at any point? Or were you just fortunate and you stayed you were healthy enough to go?
No, when you play the position that I played, it's a physical position. It's physically demanding. Once you step foot on the NFL field, you're never going to be 100%. I went into plenty of games where I could have easily sat out of those games, whether it's some of the injuries. I had a couple bad knee sprains, whether it's MCL sprains or I had also a little torn meniscus, which I still have yet to get surgery on, but also a couple really bad sprained ankles. The closest, actually, I had a hamstring injury I can remember in Buffalo, and this was the first time where I was like a game time decision in my career. I don't know what, I think it was 2004, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how many consecutive games I had played up until that point, but at that time I was cognizant of it. So it was a situation where, hey, your game time decision. And I can remember driving to the stadium, kind of almost in tears because for the first time I was like, man, I don't think I'm going to be able to play. Mm-hmm. I was unsure if I'd be able to play. Wasn't able to do much in practice. So they worked me out in pregame, kind of see if I can go. So I tell my linebacker coach, I was playing all three downs, first, second, third down. I told the linebacker coach, hey, I can play. I can give you first and second down. I feel like I'd be able to, hold up in the run down, so to speak. And I'd let the other two linebackers, was Takeo Spikes and Angelo Crowell, let those guys play, nickel. Well, Takeo ended up tearing his Achilles early in that game. So now, and we're playing the Falcons with Michael Vick back then, and I was like, oh shoot, I got to play the rest of the game.
You picked a great game for a hamstring.
Guy, right? I can remember one time, Vick escapes the pocket, and I'm like, shoot, I got this bad hamstring. The only thing that kept me from getting embarrassed was he had a little tweak in his hamstring too, so I was able to kind of push him out of bounds, and he wasn't able to go full bore either. So, we both kind of took it easy on each other.
London, make your case for the Hall of Fame because, see, sometimes, man, you very humble people like yourself, guys that, just, you look like a guy that came to work, you do your thing in your career, you never was a rah-rah guy, you was never looking at me. But I'm going to be honest with you, you got a Hall of Fame, career under your belt. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's as I look at the Hall of Fame, and it's something that I would love to be a part of. I know more than, I'm more than deserving of being in the Hall of Fame. When you look at what I've able to accomplish, what I was able to accomplish from a number standpoint. Any metric you want to look at, I'm there. The only thing that people can knock me on is I don't have as many Pro Bowls and All Pros, but those things are so like popularity based and things like that. When you look at my numbers against guys who were making the All Pros or the Pro Bowls over me in those years, you'd be like, man, I got 4. I should have had probably 10 or 12 Pro Bowls in my career and multiple All Pros. And, it's a situation where I've done my work. My case has already been made from a standpoint of on the field, not just up to the voters. You got a couple of voters there in Cleveland that can help me out. So they need to be voting for me. I made the semifinals this year and didn't get beyond that, but I'm definitely worthy of being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we just showed a graphic of your numbers compared to Ray Lewis. You guys basically
Toe-to-toe.
have identical numbers. It's amazing.
Identical resume.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah,
almost some of the
when you look
categories
at
are
it-
exactly the same.
Yeah, and when you look at it, Ray is arguably the greatest middle linebacker to ever play in the NFL, and there's only one guy that you can put up there side by side whose numbers rival Ray's. So
Yeah.
he's the first ballot considered by many as being the greatest middle linebacker in the National Football League. You only can compare one other person to him, and that's me from a number standpoint. But if he was first ballot considered the greatest to ever do it, and the guy that you can compare, statistically with him, I think I wasn't first ballot, but hell, I should be in there by now.
Hopefully at some point
It is the new
they'll
goal of
wisen
this
up.
show to get London Fletcher.
London
Yes.
Fletcher
Claim
Hall of
London, we
Fame.
will do everything in our power. If we
Yeah.
start campaigning, I'll start
That's
walking
right.
the streets of Cleveland with picket signs. You will be a Hall of Famer, mark our words.
But London, you mentioned there are 2 Hall of Fame voters here in Cleveland. You're right, Mary Kay Cabot and Tony Grossi. Have you gotten any feedback from the committee or from the Hall of Fame on why you haven't been in yet?
No, I haven't. I'll say this. I've talked to a couple voters, and it's a process. I will say this: it's a tough deal, tough situation, tough job that the voters have, because you're looking at trying to. I think they start with over 100, modern era candidates, and you're trying to bring that down to 5 players. And when you look at the National Football League, or you look at football in general, it's the ultimate team sport, and you rely so much on each other to perform at a high level. And then now you're saying, hey, let's only take 5 individuals each year out of this great game where there's been over 20-something thousand players who've played, and there's currently only, I think, less than 400 players in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't think there's enough players in the Pro Football Hall of Fame when you look at how reliant you are on your teammates and on each other to accomplish anything, whether you're quarterback and needing the offensive lineman to block well for you, or running back, you need the offensive line to block well for you, receivers to catch the ball, linebackers to make tackles to allow that 3rd and 10 situation for that defensive end to be able to rush the passer. So it's a tough job, and I understand that process, but it's about me being able to – I need to be able to get into that finalist list where the Jared Bell, who represents Washington, would be able to make my case to the voters, and not just Jared Bell, other guys and other voters who have gone against or seen me play in my career at extensive places. So it's about getting to that next phase, and that happens at the finalist list.
I don't understand. I never understood why they cap it at 5 guys per year. Like in baseball, it could be 1 guy 1 year, could be 10. It never really happens that way, but it could be as many. Like, why should there be a limit on how many guys get in? They should vote on all the guys, and if 13 guys get in 1 year, so be it. I don't know why you have to have only a certain
I don't
amount.
know that it's actually really capped at 5. Or maybe, I guess you could have ties, so to speak. I don't know, but it's. I don't know if they just don't want the classes to be too big, and but it's definitely, you saw where they tried to.
Nope, London froze up.
Give him
Whether
a-
there's
Oh, there he is.
He's back, yep.
Yeah, there's been guys that, have tried to take care of the backlog, where there's been, guys who played in the 40s, 50s, 60s who were long overdue. You see at the 100-year anniversary of the NFL, they put in a bunch more players, and they've started to add. It used to be just one, senior committee member, and now I think they're either 2 or 3 that they're taking. Mm-hmm. So they understand that there's a backlog and there needs to be more players in there, but it's just difficult to say, hey, only 5 a year of the modern era players.
London, you seem to come up a couple times in rumors throughout your career of a possible link to the Browns. Was it ever close? Did you ever have an opportunity? They were pretty much an absolute tire fire when you played, but did you ever have an opportunity to come back? Is there anything that ever interested you?
The only time that I knew that the Browns were interested in me, it had interest in me, was when I left the St. Louis Rams after the 2001 season, and I became a free agent, and I was scheduled to visit the Buffalo Bills, the Detroit Lions, and then also the Pittsburgh Steelers initially. And I went to Buffalo first and agreed to a deal with the Bills. The Browns had called after I had already agreed to the deal, and my agent didn't even tell me about the Browns' interest until I had already, signed the deal. So
because he didn't want you to go there.
It's one of those things where I guess he felt like we gave them your word, and so the Browns came in. They were a little too late to the party, so to speak. But I mean, I grew up a diehard Browns fan. I definitely would have had a lot of interest of playing in my hometown. So I guess things worked out the way they were supposed to work out. But I would have loved for the Browns to be in the mix right from the beginning when I became a free agent in St. Louis.
Who was your idols, your favorite players when you were growing up?
With the Browns, man, loved Hanford Dixon, Ozzie Newsome. Who didn't love Bernie Kosar, Wesley Slaughter? You got Kevin Mack, Ernest Biner, had Clay Matthews. Man, Big Daddy Harrison. When I said I was a diehard Browns fan, I was a diehard Browns fan. Loved Eric Turner, the late Eric Turner. He was just phenomenal. Frank Minifield, man. I just love those teams. Non-Browns players, Eric Dickerson and Mike Singletary were guys that I really enjoyed and kind of wanted to emulate. Eddie Johnson, and he was a linebacker there, the assassin. So yeah, I had a lot of guys that I loved that played for the Browns.
London, I know you said you played basketball and your dream was to play, basketball. You're listed at 5'10", 245. What was the scouting report of London Fletcher, the basketball player? Because that's my personal nightmare to play against.
Well, in high school, I was listed at about 6 feet and like 190. I got short and wider as I got older, I guess. But I was an explosive player. Could jump. Could really, attack the basket. Could knock down threes. My senior year, I was more of a scorer than a shooter, I would say. I played on state championship teams at St. Joe's, Villa Angela St. Joe's. But yeah, extremely good defender. I would say they would probably say, hey, let him shoot from outside, but don't let him get to his right hand because he's going to attack the basket, and I love attacking the basket. And I had some skills.
Have you ever played with DeQuell? Because DeQuell Tussauds to be a pretty darn good player too.
I have not. I have not played with him in basketball.
I'll tell you what. We're going to be having a competition there between DeQuell is playing our own Mikey McNuggets, who played Division III. Speaking of Division III, he played Division III basketball.
I got a question from the hotline. They said they want me to ask, as a native Clevelander, which do you miss the most, corned beef or Polish boy?
I would say Polish boy, and the reason I say Polish boy, it's easier to get corned beef in different places. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I go to New York a lot, so you can get corned beef there in different places. Now they may not necessarily be the size like you get in Cleveland, but you can get some good corned beef in some place. And I've had multiple people come from Cleveland. They'll bring me corned beef from Slyman's and or Vienna's. They'll bring me corned beef from there. Just bring it down. But that Polish boy, man, and when you try to tell people about that Polish boy, it's just I don't know if they really understand. My wife used to make it for me a lot when we first got married, just to give me a taste of home. You know what? I may have her hook me up a Polish boy today.
And when you say Polish boy, you notice he said dat Polish boy. That's a DAT Polish boy. It ain't. You gotta say it that way, or it don't hit the same.
Oh yeah. But when you describe it to somebody who's not from Cleveland, you can just you tell them about the coleslaw and the French fries and the sauce on it. You can tell they're just like, man, that doesn't seem good. It's like, dude, you do not know what you're missing.
Trust me, dog. You don't know what you're missing.
How often do you get back, London? Do you get back here this way very often?
I get back a couple times a year. Yeah, at least a couple times a year. We'll I'm sure I don't have anything scheduled yet in terms of when I'll be back in Cleveland, but I'm sure I'll be back at least once this year. I like to be able to golf when I come there, so weather plays a part too. So I don't come to Cleveland in the cold weather.
No.
You got about another
We don't
month
blame
before.
you. We don't. Yeah.
We
Well,
got
it's
about
supposed to be
another
really
month.
nice this week. It's supposed to be in the 70s this week. In terms of Washington, obviously they like the Browns. The Browns traded for Deshaun Watson, and we're hoping that after he only played 6 games last year, that finally he'll end this long drought of bad quarterbacks. Well, I mean, it's been the same in Washington. You guys have not had a good quarterback there in forever. What are the prospects for this year? I know you drafted a kid last year, and
Jacoby Brissett.
they got Jacoby Brissett. I know who did, but he's not the long-term answer there, obviously. Sam Howell, right? So
Sam Howell, yes.
Sam Howell.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you think about him? I know he hasn't, at this point he hasn't played, but is he the answer, or do you think they're going to have to dive into the draft again?
Sam's going to get the first crack at it to be the starter, and he was a 5th-round draft pick last year.
Yeah.
If he would have been able to come out after his sophomore year at Carolina, he would have been a day one, first-round draft pick, 2nd-round draft pick at worst because of the numbers that he put up. His junior year didn't have quite the same type of season. He lost a lot of guys who end up going to the NFL off that team, but Sam is a tremendous talent, can run. He's about 6'1", so that's one of the knocks on him. He got a chance to sit and learn the pro game his entire year last year, and then he made his only start of the season, only NFL action, the very last game of the season against the Dallas Cowboys, and he played great. Actually led us to an upset of the Dallas Cowboys. He very first pass in the NFL went for a touchdown to Terry McLaurin,
Right.
An Ohio State guy.
Yeah.
So Sam showed a lot in that game, ran for a touchdown, made plays with his legs, and they would love for Sam to win that job coming out of camp. Obviously, they signed Jacoby Brissett as a guy who can, who's a capable backup, who can be a starter for you. This is a situation where, Ron Rivera and Coach Rivera, he understands they need to win this year. There's going to be an ownership change, and new owners come in, and if you're not making the playoffs, then this is Ron's 4th year, so he understands what's at stake. But I feel really good about the quarterbacks that we have on our roster.
And Washington, you mentioned Terry McLaurin, who's a Buckeye, who's been a really good player there. You got 2 nice young backs there. I mean, it's actually a really pretty good skill position group. So if the quarterback's any good, he's certainly got the talent around him. I think it's an underrated skill position group in Washington, but we haven't really noticed him as much because the quarterback play hasn't been great.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the 2 running backs. Antonio Gibson's, he's a dynamic back. He can catch it out of the backfield, run the ball. Brian Robinson Jr., who was a rookie last year, overcame getting shot in the preseason.
Wow,
and ended up just playing extremely good football for us. Jahan Dotson was a rookie out of Penn State. I know you guys up in that Big Ten area know about him.
Yep.
He torched Ohio State in some ball games. And then Curtis Samuel, another Buckeye at the receiver corps. We have talent at the skill position, as you mentioned, just about having a quarterback to get the ball to them. And then also we needed to get the offensive line a lot better. And that has been an emphasis in free agency so far, and I'm sure it'll continue to be addressed in the draft.
What do you think about it was a big story this offseason. Eric Bieniemy has not gotten the opportunity to be a head coach. We've talked about this a lot, that we feel like he's been treated unfairly, not getting an opportunity when other guys have. He felt like he had to leave Kansas City to get out, I guess, from under Andy Reid's shadow. We know Ron Rivera is not an offensive, Eric Bieniemy is going to be running the offense there. What do you think about his situation and his opportunity to maybe prove himself out from Andy Reid in Washington?
Well, you look at the situation that Bieniemy faced, or the criticism, so to speak, that he was having to deal with when he was the offensive coordinator in Kansas City, and it was, hey, you don't call the plays. Well, Matt Nagy didn't really call the plays as the offensive coordinator in Kansas City. Frank Wright didn't call the plays in Kansas City, but those guys both got their opportunities to become head coaches, and there's been other guys, whether it's the Cincinnati Bengals head coach Zach Taylor, when he was with the Rams, he didn't call the plays there. It's just Kevin O'Connell didn't call the plays. Sean McVay was the play caller, but it seemed like the goal line was always being constantly moved for Eric Bieniemy, especially it seems like for African American coaches, the goal line is constantly being moved, and we have to, adhere to a different set of standards. And I'm hopeful that Eric is able to lead this offense, and they have a tremendous amount of success. And there's no question who's calling the plays, and he's able to finally land a head coaching job.
London, we appreciate it, man. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
London Fletcher, a remarkable career. He was going to play basketball.
The Ray Lewis comps are
That was wild.
It's crazy.
I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Their numbers were, I think Ray Lewis had like about 10 more interceptions, but besides,
He also played another season.
Although he missed more time. But besides that, their numbers were like identical, and even he's not in the Hall of Fame because he has 8 less interceptions than Ray Lewis.
I mean, look
at that.
I think
tackles, they're 20 apart.
Interceptions
8, passes defended tied, forced fumbles tied, sacks 2.5 difference. Ray Lewis was on a better team.
Ray missed the equivalent of 3 seasons.
That is kind of crazy.
And that's all credit to him for putting up those numbers despite missing all those games. But London didn't miss a game.
Never missed a game. And he came from D3.
Zach Thomas just got in this year. Patrick Willis only played 6 years, I think.
Yeah, he should be in the Hall of Fame. I think he will be eventually. But
I think he will be.
Yeah,
he will be eventually.
It is 12:28, which means we are still in the Lunch Hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, which means Colleague Racing is the official sponsor of this segment of the show, and also the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. At the end of the show, we're going to take you inside the Colleague party on opening day for a lot of fun.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Before we do that,
Odell.
Let's talk about OBJ.
Odell, guy who's not
signed with the Ravens.
Who you would have thought after year 3 of his career with the Giants was a Hall of Famer. Now we know he's not going to the Hall of Fame, right?
But he got a Hall of Fame team. They get him $18 million.
He got a Hall of Fame bag.
Let me tell you something. He should give his agent double his fee.
Good gracious.
Because usually agents are not worth it. I couldn't when I saw $18 million. I think you responded to our text.
I thought it'd be 6 guaranteed.
Right. And then when we saw $15 million guaranteed, my mind was blown, guys.
I told my wife don't watch sports, right?
Yeah.
She comes in, she's in there crunching numbers like she always do. She said, OBJ signed for $18 million. I say, you don't know what you're talking about, sweetheart. You watching it wrong. There's no way he signed for $18 million. She was like, I'm telling you, I say it right now, $18 million. She walked out. 2 hours later, I opened my phone up to see the chat. I said, oh, hell no. I say, congratulations on breaking your first story, sweetheart. I'd have never guessed that. 18 facts. This is crazy.
And it's nuts that he got $15 million guaranteed. I mean,
Totally
who was
nuts.
the competition there?
Well, I mean,
Where's the conspiracy theory?
I think his agent did a terrific job of saying,
He did.
give us this number or we're going to New York.
But was he really? Were the Jets really going to sign him?
Yeah, but not for $15 million.
I mean, they got three really good receivers. I don't know,
New York. I think absolutely the Jets would have signed him for probably the 6 that we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that's just.
And I think his agent told him, if you want him, this is the number. Come to this number, or we're going to New York.
Wait, I have a question about that,
ahead.
though. And I was talking to Earl and Anthony about this morning, and I can't figure this out. I'm seriously curious. It's $15 million guaranteed, but there's 3 void years on the contract, so it fits only $4 million against the cap this year.
Right.
Can someone explain to me how void years works and why can't
It's
a
loophole.
team sign Patrick Mahomes to a 50-year contract and just pay him $1 million a year?
This is
for
why
50
me
void
and Bull
years?
get mad at people
Yeah.
who are cap crunchers
Right.
sitting on Twitter.
Yeah.
Stop telling me people don't have money. They have all the money.
Yeah.
These guys will make some
There's
creative
always
math up.
there must be. It's a good question he asked. Why couldn't you do 50 years? There must be some limit of how many voidable years there can be.
The Browns had avoidable years on Deshaun when they restructured.
And
And
Thornhill.
Clowney had. Technically, Clowney was released because he had voidable years.
it's just a pressure release.
But there must be a limit to how far it can go.
Probably. But there's
because otherwise, why wouldn't you sign Mahomes to a 50?
Yeah, it's just a pressure release to make the numbers fit
Right.
under the cap.
But
That's all
that's
it
why
is.
there's always ways around the cap.
It's just like
Usually.
Eventually, you have to pay the piper, but you can
about
in
this.
theory keep kicking it down the road as long as you want.
So think about it. They crying poor, right?
Yeah.
They signed OBJ for 18. And like Lamar Jackson's like, well, damn, you ain't gonna give me what I need.
Now, let me ask you guys this question. Is there any way, because listen, I'm not high on Odell, but a lot of people are, and the players love Odell. Say what you want.
Yep.
Is there any way that Lamar saw this and said,
Yep. Sure.
maybe I'll even if it's just a little change, that he's a little more open now to going back?
This was always the ploy, boo. See, they got y'all. See, this is what we call, let me go ahead and grab somebody else over here and they can talk to you in your own language. At the end of the day, a lot of people don't believe Odell is that good anymore. He was never that good. But the thing about it is, amongst his peers, Odell Beckham is still believed to be at the top of the food chain. Now, they like, all right, well, obviously it's broken down with Lamar Jackson, right? Why would you not have a quarterback, but you spend money on a receiver? That wouldn't make no sense, right? Because it would make sense that, we need to rebuild. We'll figure it out later, but we're not going to pay no high-priced dudes now if we're not paying Lamar Jackson. But guess what? Now you sign him. Lamar Jackson actually tweeted. He actually was FaceTiming when Odell Beckham Jr. got signed. So my thing is this. I believe they just did it like, look, he's going to be our liaison. We can't talk to him right now. Hopefully he can get him back on the train because now it looks like, hey, look what we did for you, kind of,
We got you a legit receiver. What do you think, Jason?
I don't think it'll have any impact on Lamar financially. It's not like Lamar's been saying 5 for $250. Oh, you got me, Odell? All right, I'll take 5 for $2. And let's get this.
Fair.
That's not going to happen. He's still.
However,
it's not going to impact
even
him
if it's
financially.
fully guaranteed?
I agree with you. I agree with you, Jason. However, if they do, let's say the Ravens pick up their offer and make him a better offer that he does like, and maybe he was 90% not going to take it, even if they came to his demand because he wants out. Do you think that in that scenario he's more likely to get over that?
No.
No.
But I think what this tells me is from
Yeah.
the Ravens' perspective, they feel really good that they're going to get something done with Lamar eventually.
Yeah.
Right, because otherwise, why would you
Why
do
would
this?
you do this? And that kind of surprises me
Because Odell's going to be a misery on that team if they stink.
Think about it.
If Caleb Huntley is thrown to him,
Oh, my God.
look,
he's already destroyed Eli Manning and Baker. What's that man going to
He's-
do to Caleb
and-
Huntley?
Tyler Huntley.
Whatever.
And he's
Who
gonna-
cares?
Yeah.
And that's like if that's your man's. That's like if that's your guy. And somebody, that's like Bull saying, hey, G. Bush, listen, man. I know you want this bread, bro. I know you want the money, but I need you to come back to the show. And I'm like, man, I'm not coming back for nothing less than this. But then they sign Bull, and then they bring a whole nother person that I'm cool with. Say Peterlin. They're like, Peterlin coming, and they gave him a bag. I'm like, well, I was going to leave. But now 2 of my friends are here, and now, look, I mean, I might not get $250, but if they came and said, give me $200 fully guaranteed,
All right,
that
you
look
think
good.
so? He's buying it, you're not.
Business is business, boys. And
I think I'm leaning. I do think
It don't matter who's on that team. It
yeah,
depends
but
on how many
ultimately-
zeros are on my check.
ultimately the players don't have the same power that the players in the NBA do. And if the Ravens outright refuse to trade him, he's not. What is he going to do? He's not going to sit out.
Yeah.
I just don't buy that.
No, I don't. I don't know. I've been on record this whole time. I thought he's played his last game in Baltimore, so I was a little bit surprised.
But if they play hardball, I mean, why would you sign Odell? Because if your quarterback's Tyler Huntley, you're punting the season.
I'm calling Caleb Huntley.
That's not even a gentleman's punt.
No,
that's a full punt.
That's a full. I just kicked Dave Zastudil punt, like full lefty punt.
Yes.
But my thing is like, Odell Beckham Jr. is persuasive. He's going like, even though him and Baker didn't get along, he was play video games with Baker. Like that's why we was like, yo, but you just got done playing Call of Duty with him. You don't think he's gonna be calling Lamar Jackson every single day?
No, I don't think he will, because guys stay out of other guys' pockets. Like we learned that with Baker when he got on the, I forget what player it was. When he got
running back, Duke Johnson.
Yeah. Jason Lloyd is giving hella rebuttals today.
Yeah.
Rebuttal.
It's a fair point. Guys can stay out of other guys' money.
Stay out of my pocket, I'll stay out of
But
yours.
it shows you, and listen, I don't blame him. It shows you that Odell only cared about the money. I mean,
oh, well, yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
and I don't blame him.
He's at the end of his career.
Yeah.
Like, this is his last big payday.
That is, he's getting paid. You know he's getting paid. That is elite #1 receiver money.
Yeah.
Like, I think Amari Cooper's getting Amari Cooper's getting like 21, right? I mean, 18 for, that's crazy.
That's, and he's, but here's the thing, like, the only time he's really played well, and even with the Rams, like, he put up he didn't put up a lot of yardage, but he put up good touchdown numbers with the Rams.
Yeah.
That's the only time he's put up good touchdown numbers since his 3rd year with the Giants.
I'll give you that.
And what was the case? There was a #1 receiver there, Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
He has not played with a better receiver than him. Now, Mark Andrews is really good. He's probably better than Odell at this point, but he's not a wide receiver. I don't know. Like, they don't really have anybody else. I mean, what's your expectations? Obviously, it's different based on if Lamar's there or Huntley's there. But even with Lamar, they're still a run-first team.
Yes.
Like the Browns were. Even more so.
I think his best days are behind him. I've thought that for a while.
Does he have 1,000 yards this year, even if Lamar plays?
Well, we've talked about how watered down that number is.
So I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, he put up 1,000 yards here.
Yeah,
so
he
could probably do. I mean, that's what, 50 a game.
But that's assuming he's going to play a full season.
Yeah, which he did here. I mean, I'll give him credit. He played hurt here. He had the groin thing or the hernia. I don't remember
first
now.
year when he had 1,000 yards.
And he still fought through it, played a whole year.
Man.
And I do think he's committed to the craft. I think he's committed to the game, and I think he'll do whatever it takes to get on the field. Yeah, I'd give him 1,000 yards, but that's 50 or 60 yards a game.
I think going to the NFL, the little owners meeting helped. Like, people saw him hugging out with Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
They're like, oh,
He was
not
schmoozing a little bit.
He ain't that bad of a guy. He came in here. I think that helped him a lot.
Yeah, that's fair.
Beckham's 30 years old, just to clear that up.
Right. He'll turn 31 in November, right?
He turns 31 in November,
Yeah.
correct. Also, I went on Wikipedia to look up his age. Do you know his middle name, according to Wikipedia?
Odell?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I knew this.
Erasmus.
close.
That's a good one, Erasmus.
Cornelius.
See, I was.
that is
it's the
old
same
school.
family. It's the same family.
Cornelius.
Yeah,
That's something you
according to
don't tell a girl.
Wikipedia, Odell Cornelius Beckham Jr.
That definitely
Cornelius.
sounds
That's
like
an old school name
That
right
sounds like a French butler.
You know what I thought with Cornelius? Because that was one of the main characters. Did you ever see the original Planet of the Apes?
Yes.
My
Rodney
son
McDowell.
loves that stuff.
Love Planet of the Apes.
Good gracious, the original Planet of the Apes,
With
boy.
Charlton Heston.
Yes, man. Go
Take
watch
your
it.
filthy paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Hey, man. Hey, listen. He wanted to say that for a long time. Matter of fact,
That's his
here's
first line.
Here's the thing about stuff nowadays.
Yeah.
Look, you can't. Trust me. There's a lot of things you used to be able to do 10 years ago. You just can't do now. Like if you was walking in the store or a grocery store, you randomly can't mention the animal monkey. You can't just be like, I saw 5 monkeys the other day. You be like, people would be like, what?
I know, yeah.
No, at the zoo, the Cleveland Zoo.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
primates. I
You're
love
right.
that. The best section. I took my kids and everything.
You're right.
He loves the monkeys.
You get nervous about saying
You get
everything.
nervous, right?
Yeah.
You can't even say certain animals.
So real quick, now that Odell's
I was
back
just
in the
sit here and
division,
drink my water.
Now that Odell,
back in the
not getting
division,
me.
do
Yeah.
you expect Lamar to take another snap for Baltimore? Yes or no? Does this change your thought?
Yeah.
it does, because it makes me think Baltimore is not going to
Go out like that.
go. Yeah, and the only thing I'll say is, After the draft is over, will the Colts or another team that needs a quarterback at that point offer him a contract that's so outrageous that Baltimore just won't be able to match it?
Oh, they better trade Odell if they do.
Oh my God!
I think it's all part of the plan. I think they think like, look, we not about to get Kyrie. You gonna have to just be mad and either show up or not show up. And if you do show up, chances are you gonna say, all right, well, I might as well go ahead and sign this deal and quit playing around. But they're not going out. This looks like they dug in to me. There's no way they're letting him ride out scot-free.
I mean, if I'm Indianapolis, I would consider doing it after the draft.
After we talked about that. What pick do they have? Like the fourth?
I think.
Yeah, they're not giving up the fourth pick. But after the draft, they get signed
right.
to do it.
Or they take a quarterback that they like and maybe they don't want to do it. I don't know. But if they don't.
Is he still up for that thing where, so if another team can offer him money, right? And then
another team they have to give up 2 first-round picks.
They give up 2
But
first.
I think these teams that might consider it would rather wait till after this year. Because in theory, say you're the Colts, and in right after the draft you sign Lamar, they don't match it. The assumption is they will, but let's say for some reason they don't.
Right.
Well, now if the first-round pick you're giving up is next year, but you're like, well, with Lamar, we'll at least be in the middle of the pack.
17, 18, 19.
Right? So now the draft pick's not that high.
If you're the Colts, if you're the Atlanta Falcons.
I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer for any team after the draft.
And Washington should be doing the same thing.
They should.
Shout out to London, but we don't believe in Sam Howell. We don't. That is not it.
Washington and Indy are probably the two, and Atlanta. You're right. Yeah. All three of those teams. Like, I'm seriously considering it after the draft, and now the problem is if they match, then you got to go back to the quarterbacks you have and say, well, we wanted Lamar. What?
If I was this may sound crazy.
Yeah.
If I was the Miami Dolphins, I'd trade Tua straight up with something else for Lamar Jackson.
That's fascinating.
I'd straight up trade him.
Would Baltimore want Tua? I mean,
they'd want way more than just Tua. I'll tell you that.
They'd want more than Tua.
But I'm saying you get a quarterback.
I would definitely, and Lamar would probably be thrilled to play for them.
You play for Miami. He going home. Come on now.
All right, guys.
We're going to play a new game in a sec, but first I got to tell you guys about the Great Lakes Collectors Convention.
Yeah.
The Great Lakes Collectors Convention, presented by Greeny Sports Card, takes over the Fieldhouse in Independence, Ohio, April 14th through the 16th. That is this weekend. It's where the passions of sports fans, collectors, and sports talks enthusiasts collide. 50,000 square feet of ball card bliss, hundreds of display tables, card shop live theater, with some interactive performances from some of the region's most notable sports media members, including 4 of us from the UCSS cast. Great cards, great locations, great show. Tickets on sale now at greenysportscards.com. We're also giving away free passes for first place VIP passes at wkyc.com/contest and 20 other admission passes. Check it out. And tomorrow we have one of the organizers of the event in studio to talk about this. So we'll get you all the information.
And one of those organizers is Jeremy Levine.
He's coming on tomorrow.
And so Jeremy's going to be – go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, what day are you guys going?
So G and Mikey and I will be there Sunday. Jay's going to be there too, but he made his own arrangement.
He made it sound like he's exclusive. He made his own arrangement.
Oh, yeah, no. But they had connected with him separately through WKYC.
Oh,
okay.
I
might be able to join you guys
on
Sunday.
All right, well, come on.
We're gonna be back.
Come in Sunday.
For some reason, I thought you were coming Saturday, and I got the Cavs
No,
Saturday.
Jonathan Peterlin will be there with us, too. So he'll be on a panel with us.
All right.
So Jeremy Levine, who those of you who don't know, who's going to be on with us tomorrow, he is the son of legendary sports broadcaster Les Levine.
I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know
I know it because I worked with him.
That's probably true.
It is true.
I'm just getting ready for true or false.
I worked with Jeremy at 92.3 The Fan. He's a great guy. We all miss his dad. Anybody that's been living in Cleveland forever.
Man. Wonderful man.
Les was unbelievably nice to everybody. We lost Les Levine and Michael Stanley within a year of each other.
Yep. Yeah.
2 Cleveland legends, one in music, one in sports. And Michael Stanley, of course, loved sports as well. I used to talk sports, and he loved TV.
Yeah.
Michael and I used to talk sports and TV all the time. I miss them both terribly. They were such amazing people to me as a newcomer to Cleveland. And when Jeremy's here, I'll think of Les. And next week is the Les Levine honorary breakfast, the Less is More breakfast, brought to you by the Jewish News. And I'll be on that panel as well with Andy Baskin and a few others. So we miss those guys, and we'll talk to Jeremy tomorrow. Go ahead, Mikey. Tell us about this new game.
We got a new game real quick. I have not read the article, but WKYC just tweeted out a judge grants a motion to quash Deshaun Watson's deposition in a civil lawsuit. So we'll look into that and see if there's anything to talk about tomorrow.
Okay.
Did not read the article, but that's the headline. We're going to play a new game real quick.
That was today.
What does that mean? I'm confused.
I don't know what quash means. That's why I don't want to get into it. I will read. We'll digest.
May mean that it can't go public, but go ahead. I'm not sure. So
We'll talk about it tomorrow. I don't want to
go
get
ahead.
into it. We got two
Who
things to do.
cares? Go ahead.
This game is called Did This Really Happen?
Yeah.
It's true or false, but yes or no.
Okay.
Things that either happened or didn't happen on the last day of the NBA's regular season.
Yeah. By the way, look at a
man.
close-up on Jason's board right now.
I know the NBA just got drunk yesterday.
Where is my phone?
Where is my phone? I don't know.
I was picking up all kinds of players in fantasy basketball to try to win back-to-back fantasy basketball championships, and I finished in second.
Well, you may know some of these then, but are you guys ready?
Yeah.
These are yes or no questions. So did this really happen? Take it, Steve. Did Sandro Mamalashvili score 23 points and grab 11 rebounds for the Spurs in a win over Dallas yesterday? Yes or no? Jason says no. Bull says yes. G says yes. Anthony's getting the scoreboard. The correct answer is yes. That is a
hate
picture
this
of
game.
Sandro Mamalashvili.
I actually guessed on that one. I didn't.
Yeah,
know.
I wasn't. I didn't know.
I
that
thought
one.
there's no way that's a real person.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that either.
That is the point. Some of these may be real. Some of these may be fake.
Are there
These
any where you're just making up the name of the person?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh Lord.
That's very much. That's very on brand for you.
Thank you. I thought it was a fun game because
It
so
is.
many random dudes. Okay. Did this really happen? Number 2. Did Jeff Bullaby score 18 points, making 6 threes for the Hawks in a loss to Boston? Jason says no. G says no. Bull says no, it's a fake name. Steve? You are correct. That's a generic 2K created. Jeff Bullaby does not exist.
Bullaby.
Oh my goodness!
That felt very fake. Jeff
Hey, man,
Bullaby.
it is all with the black dudes.
That's way
I can never
Jeff
get
Bullaby
the skin
sounds
type
more
right.
fake than Sandro Mamalashvili.
I just felt like if you were going to make up a name, it would be a generic, like American name, not a European name.
Fair. Okay.
See if I'm wrong.
Number
later.
3 of Did This Really Happen? Did Marjan Beauchamp have 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists for the Bucks in a loss to Toronto?
I don't even.
Jason says yes. G says yes. Bull says no. Is Marjan Beauchamp real?
Yes.
Steve.
Yes, he's real.
Oh, he's real, all right.
I thought he was real, but I didn't think those stats were impressive enough that you would put him on there.
He actually looked like a 2K player in real life, though. yeah,
No,
you got
Marjan
that
Beauchamp did
PlayStation
do that.
face.
Marjan.
Which means G. Bush is now in the league, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, G. Bush has 3. Jason Bull have 2.
Question number 4. There's 8 of these, by the way.
Okay.
Oh my God, you're gonna.
Did
embarrass
Trey
me.
Mann record a 24-point, 12-rebound, 12-assist triple-double for the Thunder in a win over the Grizzlies?
Trey man. that that sound like somebody's cousin in Boys in the Hood. Bro,
I appreciate the vertical board from G today.
Yeah.
Bull says yes. He effing did. The other 2 said no, and Bull, with confidence, is correct.
Yes, that one I knew.
Trey Mann did, a first-round pick from Florida a few years ago. 24, 12, and 12 for the boys from the
See,
hood.
I don't know if you're making up names or making up stats.
See, it could be anything.
You know?
Yeah.
He's a jerk.
It's a wild card out here.
That's why the question is, did this really happen?
Yeah.
Number 5. Did Axton Bra score 9 points, grab 18 rebounds, and block? I spelled
By the way, it says
grab wrong.
Brab, 18
Yeah,
rebounds.
and I spelled that wrong. And blocked 4 shots for Orlando in the loss to the Heat. No, fake name. G. Bush says stop it. Jason says
Maybe.
maybe. We'll give Jason a no for the. And he gets half a point.
I knew that was a Mike fake name.
Oh my God!
I know your fake names,
Hey,
Mike.
listen, that
Hold
looked
on,
like
wait.
Axton Bra.
that
True
looked
story.
like
I went on I went on 2K last night and just clicked random name generator, and Jeff Bullaby and Axton Bra were the first 2 that popped up.
that dude looked like he'll walk on for IUPUI, bro. Just walk on small forward. That's
Oh
only
my
6'2".
God.
I'm falling
Next
apart
up.
over here.
Question number 5, and did this really happen? Did Dominic Barlow score 21 points and grab 19 rebounds for the Spurs?
I mean, how many
Over
Spurs
Dallas?
was killing? Like, Spurs had triple doubles. No.
Dominic Barlow of the New England Barlows.
No, I'm not. Man.
Bull says yes. G says nah. Not a no, an emphatic nah. And Jason says yes.
I need my phone.
He needs his phone. It is true that Jason needs his phone. It's also true that Dominic Barlow put up a 21 point, 19 rebounds.
The Spurs should have been Spurs the best team in the league all of a sudden last
Put
day.
up Dominic Barlow again. He looks like Kai Penn ate Robin Lopez.
He also looks like Victor Wembanyama a little bit.
Really?
He did.
I think he looks like if Kai Penn ate Robin Lopez.
You're right.
Yeah.
He got that.
Yeah.
Boy,
That's a
Robin.
good call.
Robin Lopez.
Or if they had a child together. I don't know.
Robin Lopez be shuffling his feet down. His knees is shot. He be throwing this little nasty hook. Robin Lopez
What's the
is
standing?
not good.
We have 2 questions left. Anthony, give us a score update, please.
All right, Bull is in the lead with 5. G's in second place with 4, and Jason's in dead last with 3.5 points.
3.5.
The maybe.
You got a
He
half
said
point
maybe.
for a
I gave him
maybe.
half point.
Half?
I picked the wrong one to put the maybe on because
Okay, hey, that's a loss. Get out of here.
All right, question 7.
Yeah.
Did ZQ score 11 points for the Nets in a loss to Philadelphia?
No, I don't believe that.
Bull says yes.
Book
G
it.
says no.
I don't believe
Jason says no. The answer
Book it.
that. I don't believe that.
is no.
Oh!
ZQ is real. He did play in the NBA. He's now playing in the Australian basketball
See, I knew he was a real player.
league. He is a real player.
So I assumed if he was real that he did those.
Yuta Watanabe is the player you're thinking on the Nets who did score 11 points yesterday.
Yuta. Good
Which
old
means we are
Yuta.
tied, Anthony, right? Going to the last question.
Tied at 5.
Let's go.
Who, G and I?
Yes.
Okay.
For the first ever championship of Did This Really Happen, Steve, did Kenneth Lofton Jr. score 42 points and grab 14 rebounds for the Grizzlies in a loss to OKC?
I don't know about no Kenny Lofton Jr., bro. And you had 42. I should have seen this.
G. Bush says no.
I should have seen this if you
Jason
had 42.
says no.
Somebody should have told me. If
Bull's
you got
drawing a
42.
picture. He's confident.
Bull's writing
He
a book.
is confident. And honestly, Bull, he says yes, he did.
Book it.
Winner. Book it.
Kenny
Bull
Lofton's
is right.
real. He's real.
And Kenneth Lofton Jr.,
He had a big
the
game.
G League Rookie of the Year
Yep.
from Beaumont, Texas. I
He's
covered him in
about
high school.
6'5", bro.
G. Bush, he's listed at 6'7",
He's
295 pounds.
6'5", 290. I told him he should have went out for the league and been a D tackle.
Well, that's Kenny Lofton's son?
No.
No.
Oh.
So, like I said, I covered him in high school.
Louisiana Tech.
His parents.
Why are we laughing? It's Kenny Lofton Jr. It was reasonable to think it might be his son.
Earl
no?
asked that this morning. His parents loved Kenny Lofton. Kenny Lofton was his parents' favorite player.
He looks
Yeah.
nothing like
Looks
Kenny
nothing
Lofton.
like Kenny Lofton.
Nothing.
Why
I
do you
met
know
on
that?
Friday, by the way. I met Kenny Lofton on Friday.
Kenny Lofton's
yeah?
like 6 foot, 100.
Well, that's why I was like, how is he so big if he's Kenny Lofton's kid? Maybe he married a real big woman. I don't
He
know.
is not Kenny Lofton's kid.
Because that's
But I
what
did meet-
former Major League Baseball players do.
She could be 6'5"
They
and
marry
gorgeous.
linebackers.
There's good-looking tall women.
Nah.
What do you mean no?
Nah, they
Say there's no good-looking tall women?
Of course there
What's
are.
her name back in the day who played Drago's wife in Rocky IV? She was
Bro,
a good-looking
you
woman.
should-
There's a lot of good-looking women.
her
if
name?
you
Tall women.
That means they could put more weight on their bones and frames later on.
What was her name? Brigitte Nielsen.
Did you guys enjoy the Did It Really Happen?
It was
game?
good.
No,
Okay.
it's horrible.
Thank you, Jason.
Who won? I'm the champ.
You won. You're the people's
I'm the
champ.
first champ ever.
You already
speaking-
know what place I came in.
Second place.
The
king of
Phil
second place.
Mickelson in this game, the all-time leader. I am Akeem Olajuwon during Jordan's run.
So, speaking of Kenny Lofton,
Yeah.
at the colleague racing party on Friday, we got a chance to meet Kenny
this is
Lofton.
nice. Yeah.
He was cool, and we brought the camera out.
I wish
Now,
I would have known that because Kenny Lofton got mad at me once in an interview, and you could have asked him about it.
It was
Hopefully
very
you forgot
crowded,
that
as you
now.
guys will see.
Oh.
Jason came for a sec.
Okay.
We brought a camera, and well, this is what happened. Steve, you could take the package, please. We were at the Thirsty Parrot at the Matt Colleague party. Shout out Colleague Racing, the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. We are 1 hour from first pitch between the Guardians and the Mariners. And there's a lot of drunk people out here, and I'm about to get their predictions for the first home game of the Guardians 2023 season. Do you feel like everyone's had enough to drink?
No.
No.
In about an hour, the answer will be yes. I really don't give a if they win or lose. We're ready to get this party started today. Let's get it started, mother.
I feel really good about it. I mean, we've taken care of business the last couple of games, so I think, it's going to just streamline right into today. And with the amount of energy we have here right now in Cleveland, I really think it's going to be the crowd that brings us into it.
17 innings, 0-0. Jimenez, bottom of the 17th home run.
I think it's going to be 0-1. Very boring game.
Win or lose.
Back over
We're going to win. Oh, we're going to win.
Did you hear the doubt in her voice when she was, come on, it's a Guardians win, right?
The reality is most of these games are snowed out or rained out, but today we have, 55 degrees of sunshine. My prediction is 10-5 Cleveland Guardians. I've been told by everybody, up to my parents, I look like Justin Verlander. It's an inside joke. Let's just get this mother freaking party started, mother.
I think so. It seems like they are. I definitely am, and I'm pumped for the Guardian season. Let's go try it.
So that's it. Everyone made their predictions. We will see which ones are right, but I feel out of place, empty-handed here at the Parrot. So to Colin Grayson, to the Guardians, and a successful season. Start the timer. Back to you guys in the studio.
Back to us. Like we sent it out.
Old habits die hard.
That was good. I like that. Couple of comments. First of all, bad job by that woman with the 0-1. I hate when people say the score backwards. It's inappropriate. Nobody wants to comment on that?
Well, Anthony does it all the time.
I don't want to talk about it.
Anthony does it all the time. I saw and bad job out of my old college radio station, 89 won the point, in which they tweeted out scores from a lacrosse game in Rochester, and they gave the backward score. What has happened, Kaz, to our sports department that we're now tweeting out the scores backwards?
How does he paying attention to that?
I have no idea.
I give love to my college radio station. I follow them on Twitter.
How does that hit your radar, my dog?
I follow them on Twitter, and I happen to notice it.
Like when you are watching, games, because you watch 10 baseball games at once.
No, I don't. I try to
2 to 3.
2, yeah.
At least 2.
I do. I actually bounce around.
So you watching all
During
these
commercials,
games?
I bounce around.
This guy, I can't listen. If I miss 2 innings, I couldn't tell you what happened. This dude bouncing from joint to joint.
Well, what I do usually is during the Guardians game and when I'm watching the Cubs too, I will go between innings. I'll put on games of my fantasy players that are batting or pitching.
Yeah.
And my pitching has been awful so far.
Well, I have the 2 TVs set up in my office, so I've got 2 games on, and then I've got the laptop, a 3rd game on.
Yeah. I watch one on the TV.
I told you I have ADD. I can totally watch all 3 at once.
Yeah, I know. I love it. And honestly, again, I'll say it again. I'm loving the new rules. I'm loving the speed and energy of the game.
Same.
Mike, great job on that piece. I always find it funny that
I can't believe you found that much space in there, because when I was there,
I know.
And we were like this
we got
the whole
Steve
time.
on camera there. We got Anthony and his girlfriend on camera there. She didn't want to be on camera, but she was. I know she didn't want to be.
We didn't take enough B-roll, so we were very limited in actual shots we got.
I walked up to Thirsty Parrot and texted Mike. I'm like, I ain't waiting this line. It was like 6-mile long line to get in.
Why would you have to wait on the line?
I didn't know where they were. I said I'm leaving. Like I'm not waiting this line.
We happened to literally walk into Jason as we were.
McNuggets, is there any prospects in there? Any prospects?
It was so crowded. Dude, it was so crowded.
I thought you already got
unbelievably
so crowded.
He's still like
still
the
looking for prospects. I thought he was in the game.
In minor leagues.
No, we're set. We had a good time, but it was absolutely packed.
We walked in through the kitchen. I'll get you out of this.
So awkward, Mike.
You stick with me. You follow me. I'll get you out of this. We had to walk through the kitchen.
Yeah.
To get
really?
Actually,
what were you drinking, by the way? Was that a land shark?
That's the high noon. Oh. An open bar. Hey, for real, shout out colleague. They threw a good party. Matt came and said what's up to us. We met Kenny Lofton there. There was another guy there, Ricky Smith. He does the random acts of kindness.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He was.
Ricky Smith? I don't know who this is.
Who's that?
Did I know? A former player?
He's a comedian, a stand-up comedian that does a lot of like charity work in Cleveland.
Oh, I'm not sure who you're talking about.
My
but
watch keeps buzzing.
Good
It's
for
on
him.
my phone, so I'm trying to
That's
retext on
great.
my watch.
Jason's literally dying.
All
I'm
right,
watching a man
we're out
die
of
in
time.
live time.
Oh,
Coming up on overtime,
God.
we'll answer your fan questions. Any guests on tomorrow's show, Mikey?
Tomorrow, yeah, Zach Levine and Pete Prisco.
Oh, Zach Levine.
I'm
we
going to the
mentioned
Guardians
Pete
game
Prisco.
tonight, but I got to go home and get my phone.
Prisco's
come all the
always
way back.
feisty. Well, I'm sure I'll argue with Prisco tomorrow. Go ahead. Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. See ya.